Welcome everyone to today's Empyrion Creator Challenge, and Merry Christmas to you, Happy Hanukkah, Happy New Year's, whatever it is. You know, we're past certain holidays, and we're coming up on, of course, New Year for many people. Or, you know, some places don't celebrate this coming New Year. They have a different time of year they celebrate as the New Year. But Happy New Year's to everybody before it happens. And we're going to chill for a minute, kind of give some time for everybody to catch up, get into the stream. We are, of course, doing our challenge submissions today, which we have quite a few. And they're all on the workshop, except for one. I will be updating the notes later, after the stream, to have all the links for the different ones. And then also having a game save that has everything in it, like what you see now. And plus a link, hopefully, for the one design that is just a straight download file for the blueprint itself. But we are going to be looking at this month's Creator Challenge, which the idea was to create a portable defensive station. Basically, not really a tower, but like many designs we've had before that we've seen in the workshop, there are defensive towers you can build as a standalone base to defend your main base. And the idea was for a deployable hover vessel sentry that can be carried easily within your capital vessel and dropped off when you land on the planet, preferably probably 2 or 3 of them dropped off. So you can say like, hey, I want one in each quadrant, protecting the different areas around the capital vessel, and then when you're done with that planet, they load back on the capital vessel and fly off planet with you, instead of having to leave the structure there or break it down for the parts and move on. So it is basically, you know, you're taking the place of a defensive turret tower with a design. And now you can see we do have some different size designs, some different overall visual themes to the designs. So we're going to take a look at them all. And while it is a challenge, there is no like winner or loser kind of thing. But there will be some that you see kind of fit more to the challenge theme than others do. And that's alright, Doom Noodle. I'm sure some people did get a little confused with it. Let me make sure I've got everything set, because I want to make sure we have the best lighting for everything. And there we go. Alright, so we're going to start with the defense station, or defense bastion, Zeta Mark II by FabledHero. This is, let's see, it is a unlock level 20 size class 1 hover vessel. So lower class size, you know, it's still fairly big in terms of overall actual size, a little bit bulkier design. You probably will need a larger capital vessel to hold more than one of these for deployment. However, you can see it has a lot of turrets on it, so a lot of defensive capabilities. And obviously, it's got some turrets here with a bigger focus in one direction, which kind of makes sense. You want to have it where it's facing out from your, you know, your base, or probably your capital vessel you're deploying. So really, the turrets here, the little minigun turrets, are better suited for taking out maybe predators that come in around the capital vessel. Like if your capital vessel here, you got a predator, a little alien bug right here, that takes care of those without being overkill for that. And then the front is aimed towards taking out drones, patrol vessel, things like that. So that definitely fits to that. And oh, we've got, of course, they're attacking me. Well, wow, that's a big horde of raptors there. We'll just turn the AI off for now. So, I didn't put any ammo in yet. That's why it's not just sitting there blasting them away. Well, let's see. We have a sight here. So, lever, open up, let you in. Obviously, you don't really need automatic, because these are going to be deployed and left in place. Let's see. Yep. So, inversion there. Closes that. You've got another door there. There's oxygen, food, ammo storage. Obviously, you need ammo storage. I'm not so sure the oxygen storage, the food, and the armor locker really is extraneous for this, because, I mean, the theme being that it's just being deployed and then you leave it kind of thing. So that can be useful for carrying stuff. Also, the passenger seats are a little bit extraneous for the theme itself. Really, it should just be, you know, drive it up, drop it off, and then hop to it back to your capital vessel. So this acts as defense. But we do have our defensive turret switch here, so it turns that on and off, which is nice. So you can actually, you know, if you're wanting to drive without the turrets on, save some power. And then you can do the movement mode, which allows it to maneuver around, which I suggested everybody take caution to have something like that, because looking at power consumption, 52 hours right now with that. If we drop this off, we have 61 hours. So it's a big difference when you turn off thrusters on it. Go God mode for the hull a bit. Okay, so you see we've got some extra spacing in some places, it looks like. I think that's actually just the turrets there, the little drop down for them. And then, you know, got this, it looks almost like it's got, you know, a slope for you to have something run off of it, but really it doesn't give you anything other than a cosmetic look to it. And of course you have more of the turrets up here with minigun turrets for Predator focus. It seems like they're all targeting Predators right now, period. And let's see, we of course have thrusters, which you need for just the maneuvering into place. And other than that, it's a very straightforward, of course, docking clamps, and got booster pads. A lot of booster pads if you need to get it up, I guess, your ramp. Yeah, it does seem to have a good bit of armor. I mean, it's combat steel blocks all around, so you definitely will be able to take some damage. Obviously, if you're wanting to use it maybe in a PvP setting, like you're saying, Doom, it would work well for that. And what you've got is, these are all passenger seats, and here's your pilot seat, which is enclosed. You don't even see the cockpit. So it's perfectly enclosed, which means you will be doing third person to maneuver it in place, but honestly, I think that's probably what you would do anyway. Let's take that. So yeah, just an inverted switch there, which works really well for this. And overall, 4 rocket turrets, 6 minigun turrets, 4 plasma turrets, and the 1 artillery turret, which obviously the artillery turret is better suited for big objects. I wouldn't say drones, but it could be good for enemy ships, like if you're playing PvP. If you got the patrol vessel coming, have it target the big turrets on it. And yeah, that's a very nice design in terms of that. It definitely can work in a lot of different scenarios. In terms of most gameplay, unless you have the patrol vessel coming at you, the turret mount might be overkill for it. But it definitely works in terms of a lot of versatility on this. It definitely will be able to handle some combat. And resource-wise, it's not that bad. Actually, 190 Erestrum and Zascosium, 50 Neodymium, 60 Cobalt, the new carbon substrate, and then you've got all this stuff. So it's really not that expensive to make for the most part. Typically, the Erestrum and Zascosium be more expensive. I would say because of the wider wing sections here, not really wings, but gun platforms, it's definitely a wider door you're going to need. Let's see. So that's a 14 by 7, roughly. You see, it's probably going to be something more along the lines of that, I would expect. Some kind of larger. Yeah, you're going to need a big hangar door to get this in. That is one drawback of this, is it's a much larger design. Maybe something for one of the aircraft carrier themed designs where you can place it on a little platform on top and just roll it off, rather than having it inside. Okay, and FabledHero says 9 by 7 should work. I would definitely say you're going to need a good wider platform, and make sure you're driving it straight in, not sideways, because it is wider on the sides than it is at the front, it looks like. But that is the Defense Bastion Zeta, and Zeta with a 3 on the design here, but in the workshop it's Zeta, Z-E-T-A, and this is Mark II by FabledHero. And again, unlock level 20, size class 1, hover vessel, meant for deploying and basically letting it serve as a defensive tower that you leave in place. If you're wanting it to be like a theme, like, hey, we're going to deploy some guys there and they have to stay in it and manage the turrets rather than AI controlled turrets, then the then the passenger seats make perfect sense, you know, having 4 people to control turrets on it. But if it's one of the things like if you're single player, you want to play and just say this is AI controlled, then really passenger seats are not necessary for that. But again, that's the Defense Bastion Zeta Mark II by FabledHero. So I'll give it a second. I see a lot of people complimenting on it, and that is great. Make sure no more questions before we move on. And I have got this next one, which is not on the Steam Workshop. It is a Blueprint download, so I will put a link for that, and it's currently in the Discord channel if you want to go ahead and check it out there. But I'm not seeing anybody asking questions. Alright, so we'll go on. We'll move on to the Hellfire 15. And the Hellfire 15 is coming to us. Name on Discord is Chief Engineer. This is creator Dreadstar. And it's unlocked level 20, size class 1. I mean, a bigger size class in the end than the other one, but this one actually looks more like a tower design. So obviously, this is a mobile defense tower. The only problem you're going to see, obviously, is when you try to dock it inside a ship. This is one you're going to need to carry on an outside docking platform rather than inside. And of course, if they still allowed you to have the turrets active when it's on the outside, that would be nice, you know, when it's docked, but you can't. And actually, let's see, there is no docking pad on the bottom, so you are going to have to dock this up to the side of your vessel. So, you're going to have to go, basically back it up and dock it. And then let's see, where is the entrance for this thing? Trying to see. That's a interesting placement for the turret there, unless it is not meant to be just a tower. It can also be turned on its side and left, you know, where you can have it sticking out from the ship like a big post. Alright, so there's... Oh, so there's not even a... it's not even like a door into it. You basically come here and you highlight like that little spot, and then you're in the cockpit. So there's the cockpit. That definitely makes it a different style design than what I would expect. More spiky would look like Barad-dûr. Well, that's true. It kind of does have that like look to it, almost like the like Saruman's tower in a way too. If it had more of a pointier shape to it rather than just the post. But a bunch of turrets. Obviously, in this case, the turret placement is higher up, meaning better targeting for up close, but they're not going to be able to aim far out that way because of their placements. So you're going to have these turrets on the sides targeting that way, while these won't be able to. But it does have a good mix in terms of where some of them are placed. Like that one is not going to target much further out than it is, but this one can at least turn and take care of it. So a good balance there. Obviously, it is pretty well armored because everything is enclosed. It's just one big solid piece of combat steel blocks all around the outside of it. Even down here, the thrusters are kind of enclosed a bit. And then big artillery turret at the top. I honestly would put the artillery turret flat on top so it could spin all the way around, because this does restrict the movement a bit. But, I mean, it is a deployable one, and I guess the intention was because where you're facing from, this is the front of it, that's the side, so I guess it's put that way so it's easier to kind of like angle the way you're docking it. Let's see, we've got almost full power in it, full amount of fuel. It doesn't have the most longevity because of that, so it there is a mobilize option, but it's not seeming to do anything at the moment. Just turning the thrusters off alone took care of that. So big jump there. 9 hours with thrusters on, turn thrusters off, and 81 hours. It's a big big difference there. Cost-wise, it's more expensive. Obviously, it's bigger overall. 190 restrooms, that's Cosium. Basically the same for the weapons as the previous one. In terms of cost, it actually looks almost the identical turret setup. The main cost difference is iron and sathium because of the combat steel blocks, having more of that. Immobilize. Okay, we'll take a look and see what the Immobilize does. If anything's grouped like that, it's not put to the immobilized function. So I'm assuming maybe that was missed before the upload was made onto the Discord server, because immobilize is not exactly triggering anything. It looks like I was probably meant to turn off the thrusters and RCS, I would assume, but did not get implemented or did not come across in the blueprint, because it was uploaded as a standalone blueprint file rather than uploaded to the workshop. So maybe if it gets uploaded to the workshop and shared that way, it'll make a difference. Let's try it with this. So now, with thrusters and RCS off, with what I would assume to be the proper immobilized setup, 121 hours of use. So plenty of time for you to play, clear a planet, and then move on to the next. But definitely, if you download it from the Discord link on there and import it, you're going to have to add the groupings there, because apparently they were missed or did not transfer in the blueprint export. But that is the Hellfire 15. Unlock level 20, size class 1. And creator Dreadstar, however, it will be under the creator name of Chief Engineer on the Discord channel, where the link is currently listed. Alright. Turrets are off. Oh, you're right. Turrets are off. Okay. So with turrets on, 104 hours. So still not bad overall. But definitely, you know, I would say put it on the workshop so that it does everything. If you've got the grouping in there, put it on the workshop so that everybody can, you know, get the right settings from it. Because apparently it doesn't work so well, I guess, when you do the export of just the raw blueprint file itself. Yeah. Hole above the docking plate. Let's see. Okay, hole above the docking plate. It looks like it's probably a missing block. One that was supposed to be there, or maybe there's another design that he didn't link to that helps to dock it in. Some kind of, maybe a post that helps to dock it in. Actually, no, Doom, it is not the cockpit hole. The hole he was talking about is over there on this side. The one you're referring to is this one, where you actually see into the cockpit itself. So, yeah, it's some kind of, I'm assuming either a missed block or potentially something that is meant for docking it on a particular design, so that when you move it in and then you line it up, it acts as like gripping an alignment post to hold it in place. Like, you know, hey, here's this little pin. You know, we've seen used in some other challenges recently when, you know, you use it to line you up and get it locked into place before the hover clamp, the little hover pad, docking pad, goes into effect and locks you in as a docked vessel. But he didn't put it on the workshop. He sent me the link for, or upload the link for the actual file itself. So I really can't say if it's tied in with another design or not. But yeah, again, this is the Hellfire 15, and it is by creator Dreadstar, or as you will see on the Discord, Chief Engineer. I'll get you another little fly around on this one. Just a big post of turrets, like a tower from Lord of the Rings. Okay, so we'll move on now back to the workshop uploads. And this is the MSG Praetorian mobile defense platform coming to us from lotsoalts. So hopefully this is one of the fun alt characters that they're uploading from. And it definitely is a much larger design than either of the two before this. Looks more like a, base type platform. And I do appreciate the addition on the front of the, harvester modules, because maybe you are wanting to deploy it quickly. You don't want to have to send another vessel out there to clear trees out of the way. So, great way to do that. Just go ahead and deploy it. Though, for the most part, that's not necessary in terms of the, core function of the design. Just a nice little extra touch. I do like the stair ramp method you've got here. Instead of it being like real stairs or a full ramp, you've got this little system that comes up. That's nice. Yes, it's like a desert vehicle type design. And this is an unlock level 20 size class 4 design. Any of you who are wondering that, didn't point that out yet. So we come down here, we got, well, I can't really see anything there. That maybe is just cosmetic for the overall look. Maybe just extra armoring. Yeah, you got cargo and everything. This is like a full, like a mobile base type platform. Like, not an enclosed thing. Like, oh yeah, you're going to come in here. You got all this. It looks so much more like if you could do certain things differently in the hover vessels to make this be a proper base. This is like a good design for almost being a proper mobile base. And so we got this right here. It walks us down. We're inside. And you got clone chamber in case you are using this as a, functional work platform rather than just a defensive sentry. Of course, you got the medic station. Well, clone chamber. It says medic station. Is it tucked away? Or maybe you're supposed to add it to there. Cargo boxes. Harvest cargo boxes, of course. So we've got this. Let's see. That's night operations. Okay. So night vision. Guess maybe that's a night vision use only. So if we turn this off, I guess it's meant to be more night vision friendly. So you're not going to a super bright area afterwards. We've got RCS. And well, that's hover engines. That's just RCS. It says. What was that? Station 1. So it turns on a production station. So basically this is just for your medical production, I guess. That turns on RCS. It says thrusters in RCS, but that seems to only point to RCS. And we don't have a group for that. Let's see. Oh, it's turning off thrusters. It just says it's going to RCS. So yes, that is thrusters in RCS, hover engines. So you can keep it hovering above water if you want to place it above water. We've got 6 stations total all around. So you've got plenty of space for like, oh yeah, I'm going to sit here as a passenger. I'm going to work while I'm here. This is my armor locker. These are my cargo boxes. This is my, fridge and mini bar that I can have. And I'm assuming maybe also, for everybody that is managing turrets here. I'm assuming this would be meant for like a LCD screen or a VR type, holographic display of some sort. Tower mode active. Okay, so we've got that linked in. I'm not seeing any other turrets right here. So let's say we turn. Alright, so that display goes off. Nothing on display there. Hover engines. Nothing there. And, oh, actually, fridge. Okay, so fridge is on full time. And then night mode. Yeah, nothing different. So basically, thrusters in RCS. That's off, but that's still on. Okay, so when you take hover engines out completely, it's that little LCD screen turns on. So both of these have to be off for that to work. And let's see. So, alright, 9x5 doors, fully signaled, tower mode. So basically if you want it served like a tower, don't have it over water where it sinks. Can make fuel while moving, which obviously you could harvest biofuel, but I don't think you're going to get that much for biofuel in this. And yeah, that's the Praetorian. Definitely, fits into the overall theme design. A lot of capabilities. Obviously, we got like a lot of spotlights too, so you can see what's going on around if you want to do that, or I guess turn them off and be kind of stealthy at night. Definitely a desert vehicle type look to it. It looks more like just a defensive platform. It looks sort of like the new platforms, the new defensive emplacements that the Zerats have, kind of, except a little bit bigger, Or is it not Zerats? It's the other group, the Polaris. It looks kind of like one of those we saw in the last live stream. It's just a defensive placement. You fly it in, you drop it off, you walk back, and it's a much bigger one, much more intimidating looking. And I mean, it's hardened steel block, not combat steel, so it's still got a good bit of armor around it. I think the main thing, if you were going to use this in like PvP, is the amount of targeting area it has. It's going to be hard to come up on this from any particular angle without getting shot. And, I love the ramps right there, the method of that, despite the fact that they still haven't fixed the volume for that sort of thing. And, of course, again, the harvester modules are nice in case you do need to chop down some trees on your way to deploy it because you're trying to launch and deploy onto a planet really quickly and get your base area set up. Like, if you're thinking thematically, like you land on a planet, you're like, all right, guys, get out there, set up defenses so we're protected in case the local group comes to fight us for trespassing on their planet. So you want these to be deployed quickly. You don't want to sit there and say, hey, can you get the lawnmower hover vessel, go out there and chop down some trees for me? I need you to mulch some trees so I can get my little defensive turret in place. You don't want to do that. You want to hurry up and get out there. So from a theme type standpoint, this works really well. And I like the kind of almost brush guard type look. Like it's a mulching machine. I do like that visual look to it. But, in terms of just most cases placing it, you really don't have to have anything like that. That's just a nice little touch. In terms of if you need it, you don't have to wait to get another hover vessel out and clear some trees. I do like the piston type looking thing. It doesn't look like it's just piping. It looks more like pistons for lifting the arms out. Maybe like stretching these out or something like that. So that's a very nice look to it. And let's take a look at what it has. It is 4 miniguns, 4 rocket turrets, artillery turret, 4 plasma turrets, and a drill turret, which is retractable. So you can technically use this as a, regular hover vessel if you want, obviously, if you want to do that. But again, for the challenge sake, it's meant to drive it out, drop it off, and leave it until you're done with the planet, which place you then pick it up, drive it back to the capital vessel, and take it with you. Terms of resources, of course, iron, sathium, silicon because of a lot of the screens and everything inside. A little bit more zascosium and restroom, neodymium, cobalt than the past 2 designs. But the, very modest expense to build this. And lots, you forgot to add the medic station. So I was right, there is a medic station that's kind of missing from there. Okay, so yeah, that's alright. So there should be a medic station. I'm sure he will get that updated following this. And let's take a look. Fuel management, which is interesting. So you got cargo boxes for fuel and a constructor that I'm assuming is supposed to be tied to just these. And that's where you take stuff and put it in to manage making fuel while you're out on the go. So yes, this is, again, the MSG Praetorian mobile defense platform. I know the text is a little small there. You can't see the whole thing there. It's unlock level 20, size class 4, so bigger than the previous two designs. And it comes to us from lotsoalts, who is in the chat with us right now. Turn it to night. Let's see the exterior lights. Sure, I can do that. Let's see. We're actually, yeah, let's check the lights from here. Night mode. I'm assuming... Well, that does not turn on the lights. Oh, yeah, we'll go to nighttime. And let's see. So this is night mode. I do like the almost red alert type style to it. Like, oh yeah. Night ops. Huh. Protocol spelled wrong a little bit, sorry. Let's see. So that's the switches for those. Is there a switch for just the exterior lights? Because I'm not seeing a switch for lights. Each of the other switches is just for the construction stations. Let's make sure there's not one in here I'm missing. Alright, so I don't see anything for the exterior lights, so we'll just turn them on this way. And that is how it looks with all spotlights. So you probably want to add a group for the spotlights. I don't think there was a group. Yeah, no spotlights. There's interior and exterior lights. Okay, so there's a switch, custom switch for it. So we'll do that. Now, there we go. It's actually got a very nice looking little design with the way the lights are lined up. Like, look at that. Looks like a, you know, computer generated type little art thing. But yeah, it looks kind of like a cogwheel, yeah. But you definitely get a good degree of coverage. I mean, if you know, you're coming along, like, oh, I'm coming up, I see something. I think I see something. I think I see something. Oh, we're taking fire. We're taking fire. And then you get right up here and it's like, bam, super bright. You know, predators are not going to be able to hide from you in this thing. That's definitely a nice little aspect of it there. Where's the... Alright, and the miniguns are right on the underside, so good range of fire for against predators on this. Exterior lights are not turning those off. That's not turning off the exterior lights. So, you might want to do some tweaking a little bit with lots. I think we're missing a couple of signals in here. Or at least some signals that are not transferring quite right for me. That's exterior lights. Let's see. Okay, and that's... So that's different lights from the spotlights. Yeah, where's the spotlights that I need to turn off? There we go. So right now you'll just, I guess, have to go into the group, make a custom little thing for that. I would say definitely having a switch that turns it into, like, nighttime spotlights. Like, you've got that there. Put one here for spotlights or something like that. That way you can have just the spotlights on. And it doesn't have to be tied into the night ops. Because night ops, I like the idea of it being where you don't have to worry. It could be specifically if you want to go like, we're going camo style. Like, we're in the desert right now. Kind of camouflage, especially at night. So doing that, you definitely don't want to have it where, you know, the spotlights are tied automatically to that. But yes, overall, very good design. Very nice. I love the theme. I love the look of, like, you know, wear on the vehicle out here. Instead of making it look so perfectly pristine, it looks like you've been through some combat and it's got some wear and, you know, dirtiness to it. So it gives a very good look to it. And just overall, like the cosmetics. But yeah, once again, this is the Praetorian mobile defense platform by lotsoalts. Yeah, light rendering distance is a little bit small still. I'm even with mine on like high graphic settings, it's still not very good in terms of the graphics quality, even with the new changes. Yeah, it could be the dry blood of his enemies. It could be all the I mean, it's right here, too. It could be blood splatter from all the raptors that you've mulched in the harvester modules. That's what it could be. Alright. And I will say one thing, real quick, I just noticed it because we are in Polaris territory. And just building anything, like if I just say, you know what, we'll do another one of these over here. I am in Polaris territory. I lose points with Polaris just for building a vessel inside their territory. That is not a very good thing to have in the faction system. That's really bad. But we're moving on. Right now, we're going to look at the Zombie Exile Cyclops. Coming to us from Zombie Exile. So really, this is just the Cyclops. He wanted to put his name on it. And this is much more of a very, almost like a Dalek type looking thing. You know, you are dropping it off. I do like the little visual here for the Cyclops type look. You know, he doesn't have a nose, but he's got a grin. Or, you know, a stern look to his face. And his eye. But I do like it. It's got a very good simplistic look. That, you know, does what it needs to do. It gives you a spot right there. This is pretty much what I was kind of expecting for the most part on the challenge, because it is just straightforward. You don't need all the extra stuff. This is to get out there, deploy it, and then be done. And let it sit there and do the work. So this is tank mode. So it can actually serve as a movable tank, which deploys the Gatling guns. And of course, you get access to the little harvester module, and it gives you your lighting and everything. And if you turn off tank mode, we're in turret mode, which of course you don't need light to see everything. You just need to have it sitting there where the guns can see things and fire for you. And so it's exactly the kind of stuff like this. If I was doing a build for this, and I did do a build very similar to this long ago, like Alpha 6, this is basically what mine was like. It was very simplistic on the outside. Just roll it in, put it in place, and let it defend your equipment. That's important. That is pretty much what it was. And this is the closest one so far to what I did on my own terms when I built my own. So you still have some extra things if you want to use it like a tank. But if you don't want to use it like a tank, it has that turret mode. Just deploy it. You're done. And let's see, power-wise, 138 hours of fuel usage. Even as long as it's been sitting here. Oh yeah, turrets are off. So tank mode, we need to make sure, or turret mode needs to make sure the turrets are on. Which actually, okay, let's check these. Not sure what custom 2 is doing. Where is custom 2? That's custom 1. Yeah, okay. You know, turning off thrusters so it saves money or saves power. RCS should be part of group 1 too, I would think, because you don't really need RCS when you're not using thrusters. Custom 1 also turns off weapon, which is the 2 Gatling guns. So basically that's the tank mode, is custom 1. And custom 2 is the other turrets. So it's not giving us that. We're not, it's acting like it's off, but they're supposed to be on. Let's look here. Like, yeah, that rocket turret is on, even though it's showing right now turrets and weapons are off completely. So that is 104 hours like that, even with the weapons actually on. Even it's showing they're off, but they're actually on. All of these and the turrets are on, and some reason it's not doing the little middle yellow option for that. It's weird. That's another, you know, buggy thing going with the game right now. But yeah, we've got a good complement. I mean, I do like the placement. You got 1 rocket turret on each side, and you got the 5, you know, minigun turrets. The one up top, make sure you have at least 4 pointing in each direction. So that gives you plenty right there. And we got 5, or 1 harvester module, and then the 2 Gatling guns you can deploy in tank mode. Yeah, the names for the setups, it doesn't need to be custom 1, custom 2. It should be like, this is your thrusters, RCS, this is turrets, or this is tank mode, and this is turrets, you know, standalone turrets for that. That definitely needs to be adjusted in this Zombie Exile. If you're watching this now or later, definitely needs to be tweaked for that, so it's easier to understand for players getting it. But overall, this is a very nice design. It's very straightforward to what I said I would be building if I did this sort of thing now. And resource-wise, it's the cheapest one we've seen so far. I mean, look at that. You've got almost nothing in terms of resource cost for everything. So it's very cheap. You can easily put a bunch of these out. Dale, you're saying the guns in the back will not fire. I'm pretty sure, I mean, these can rotate all the way around. It's not like they're only firing in this direction. These will rotate and fire back here towards, like, these enemies. And that means really all you're going to lose, because you've got these 4. If something was over there, this one would be blocked, which is why you got one on top. So it should still work in terms of the turret placement on top. You're still going to have 4 turrets at any point firing. Because even if they made it where they can't swing through another block, that can always turn this way and fire that direction. But yeah, that is the Zombie Exile Cyclops by Zombie Exile. And it is unlock level 10, size class 1 hover vessel. Almost a size class 0 hover vessel. A little bit smaller, a little bit lower in the class size. You could have got it, or, you know, yeah, you could have got it down to that 0.49. Technically be a class 0 is what it's supposed to be. But that is the Cyclops. So now we're going to move on to our next entry. This is the Carapace Sentry HV, and it is coming to us from our very own Doom Noodle right here. And this is a nice one. It kind of feels almost like I've seen it in another, like in a movie top design. Like it lifts up and then rolls out with almost like this is where it deploys something. Like you're going to see a motorcycle deploy from underneath and drive off. But this is the Carapace by Doom Noodle. Real quick, it is unlock level 10, size class 1. Should be class 0 because it's 0.42. Everything else counts that direction. Let's make it class 0. Make it a subclass. So we've got the basic stuff. I do like, you know, you've got some visibility in here of your core and everything. It's not completely hidden. Some constructors. You got the basic stuff for a tank type thing. And that's the Sentry mode. So this is more of a versatile option. You can drive it around. We got a container with a container extension. So basically, yeah, you can drive it around, do what you need to do. And if you want to leave it somewhere, just go here and hit that. And cuts out the lights. And hopefully it cuts out all the thrusters too, right? Right, Doom? Yes, 15 hours of power usage like this. That's with turrets, weapons, all active. You know, the only thing would be, of course, if you were taking a lot of heavy fire, definitely in like a PvP sense, the glass front, if you're using it for actually sitting in there, probably be an easy way to blast through. Everything else, hardened steel block, so you're good on that with armor. And it's also the most, you know, low resource design so far in terms of turrets. We've only got the 3 minigun turrets on top, so not going overkill. This is for, you know, obviously you could outfit it with some more stuff, more powerful ones if you want to, but think of this as like early game predators and drones. You really don't need much to defend against predators and drones in the game. You just need a little bit more if a patrol vessel comes across you, and that's really only thing in the game right now you need. But that's pretty much it. That's what it is. Let's see, resource wise, it should be very cheap. Yep, extremely cheap. You know, carbon, substrate, that junk now, very cheap on all of it. Again, the 15 hours, it's it's simple, it's straightforward, it does what it needs to do. And it is, you know, meant to be a mobile sentry. You know, we've got tank design so far, but the theme was not to make a tank, it was to make a drop-off sentry. So, and you're saying, Doom, this was meant to be like a bunker. Well, yeah, it kind of looks like it'd be a bunker. You know, if you didn't have the docking pads underneath, you could drop this down straight to the ground level. It would look almost like it was embedded into the ground with these little posts holding it in. Like, that's gripping claws for locking into the ground. Like, what would they, like, StarCraft. The Terran tanks that turn into big artillery turrets. They have the little clamps that come down. Something like that. That's what that makes me think of. Is that's almost like a clamp that locks you into the ground with it. If you didn't have the docking pads underneath. You had it on like a side or something. Which you do have. Well, that's just a steel block. That looks almost like it'd be a docking pad. I think you could pull off docking pads on the sides if you really wanted to. But yeah, that's the only thing I wish you could do something with the docking pads retracting or something like that. Because then that would look like it's a post, a stake to hold it in the ground while it fires. Yeah, you can't rotate the drills. That is something that I still hate about the game. That they won't let you rotate drills or even certain weapons like that to be able to point them in different directions. Like, you can't make a design where you just have something firing in every direction and spin it. Like a disc shooting in every direction. But yes, this is the Carapace Sentry hover vessel by Doom Noodle. And it's a size class 1, unlock 10, lower cost sentry vessel. Definitely is a little bit more compact compared to some of the bigger ones we've seen already. You can see in size comparison to some of them, that's much more compact. That and the Cyclops are definitely more in that deploy several of them because you have plenty of room to carry several of them. But that is a nice little kind of bunker look like you said you're going for, and I like it. So, now, moving on, and I gotta get to the other page of designs. This is more than just the defensive turret. This is a mobile fortress, and it's Mobile Fortress Epsilon by Bonedog. And it definitely looks more like a fortress. Heck, that looks almost like it's going to launch some kind of canister type thing. Like that's about to launch nerve gas canisters out into a crowd. Is what that makes me think of. Like, this isn't defense, this is crowd control. We're coming in and we're taking this riot under control. And this also has the same kind of thing, like the gripping spike type look to it. If you could have the docking pads retract inwards enough, then that makes it look like it has feet for clamping in place and holding it in place. The only problem I see is, of course, you're not going to be carrying a lot of these, like some of the smaller designs. You're going to deploy one of these, maybe two, depending on how big your capital vessel is. So you better hope you've got enough coverage for it. I do kind of like the little claws there. It kind of looks like scissors for chopping stuff as you go through, maybe. Though I would really expect to see instead the, harvester modules for that. We got Gatling guns. I do like this kind of like armor plating look at the front, and I like these on the front. That gives a very nice, like, kind of texturing to it. Let's see. We've also got a lot more of the little plates around the top, like access hatches type thing is what it looks like. And I do like the, railing, the visibility of that. It makes it look more functional to me in the end. It's definitely got that kind of, this really could be serving this purpose rather than you just seeing a big block and that's it. And now, let me get out of God mode for this. Come up here and walk up, and we are inside. The inside is a bit more sparse. And you got some open framework here, which is obviously meant to be that way because it goes all the way around. It's not just like one section. So this is meant to be like a lattice type thing. Container extensions, and then the main container controller. You got the constructor. And medic station, I do kind of like that, except it feels almost like I'm about to get sucked into it. Like, I'm almost feeling like I'm about, like, is this the toilet? Am I sticking my backside up here to have my shot? Container extension. And, nothing over here. We have fridges there. Container extension. So you've got some storage space. And we've got several passenger seats. Nice little VR type, you know, heads-up display sort of thing for it. I'm not seeing any switches in the walls for triggering things. So it looks like we're going to be, everything is, yeah, basically your engines, your constructors, your spotlights. And let's go ahead and take a look at the spotlight. So not the same coverage as the Praetorian. It's more directional, the cardinal directions off of it. But it definitely has that nice look to it on the outside. And, you know, it's got a good bit going for it on that in terms of the visuals. And let's get the turrets out now. You see, it's very much directional. Each side, like here, you've got this one little turret. The front, obviously, is much more heavily armed. Little turret there on the side, little turret there. So more of a targeting towards the front. So you definitely want to keep your, you know, protected thing towards the back of it. That way that, you know, this is all at the front. So you have a ship coming here, coming to attack your base. They get blasted out before they get too close. And it's definitely, yeah, I feel like you almost could have some more turrets here if that was not going to interfere with the blocks in here or with the inside look. And oh, wait, there's a little hidden core area up here. I'm not sure why you need the open, you know, window for it. You know, like, how often do you really want to jump up there to look at the core? I don't think you really need that. I mean, it's a nice little touch, but I really don't think that was that necessary. But yeah, very nice look, especially on the outside. The outside to me is the best part visually of it. And yeah, it's got a nice little setup. So let's take a look. It is almost full. Let's go ahead and fill it back up. So engines off, but turrets on. You see it's only 15 hours use. So you're not going to get a huge amount of duration off of this one. It's much bigger. Obviously, it's going to have quite, with the storage extensions, the cargo boxes, it's going to have a lot more storage capability on it. Even though it says no cargo boxes, it's got the container extension. Like here's the ammo controller, and here's the container controller for actually controlling all this and tying in with that constructor, and this one for tying in with this constructor. So it really does have containers. It's just the new weird container setup thing that they're doing. And resource-wise, this is more expensive. Sathium and iron, very much more expensive than the others we've seen. Still low cost because of weapon complement. 190 Erestrum Zescosium. You know, neodymium, cobalt is very cheap. The carbon substrate is a bit more on this one, but so is the copper and silicon, but not that much different. The main thing is iron sathium on this is much more expensive on this. And it is an unlock level 20 size class 7 design. And like I said, with this design, I mean, looking even at the previous ones, we'll kind of get over here. So this is all the previous ones. That's the biggest one so far. So with some of the other ones being a hard to fit into a hangar bay through a hangar door, that one is not going to go in a hangar bay. That's one you're going to need some kind of open air platform on the outside of your capital vessel to dock it to and carry it to the next planet. Which can be fine if you're flying like a really big vessel and you want something like this, go for it. My preference is for the smaller ones that you could carry several of in a much smaller area. But for a defensive sentry, this can work. For a defensive assault type tank, this definitely can work. It's definitely one you could take out and do quite a bit of harvesting with and, you know, looting your different points of interest and then come back, got plenty of storage for things. But yep, that is the Mobile Fortress Epsilon by creator Bonedog. Yeah, we're gonna need a bigger CV. So, overall, very nice design. I do like the cosmetics of it. In terms of what it is, it does kind of look like a mobile platform, like one, to me, almost cheap enough that you could say, hey, let's just make this instead of using a base and put this in place somewhere and use it as a defensive turret base rather than building an actual base, because if you mess up placement, you can easily lift up and move it around a bit. I would ask Danielle to make a ship to dock 20 of these, but unfortunately, as she has told me, she has left playing the game. She has lost her interest in the game at the moment. Or at least that's the last she talked to me about, is that she said she was not going to be playing for a while. So I don't think she's going to be the one to ask right now to make a ship that can hold 20 of them. But that is the Mobile Fortress Epsilon by creator Bonedog. And now this next one, I shouldn't even have to say who it's by, because you can honestly, if you've seen any of the past designs from this creator, you know who this is from. You know the design style, and you know one of my last showcase videos was on one of the base designs from this creator. And this is almost identical in the overall aesthetic theme. This is Aqua's crown by Unileska Kuriku. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. I'm trying. I'm hoping I'm saying that right. But, yes, this is basically the same as the other designs, in that same vein, the Aqua series, like the Deluxe Luxury Resort and everything. You've got the same clean white look, to it. Everything, the cosmetic piping. Really, the best part of all those designs is the visuals. That's always the best part of the designs. What's done so well. Obviously, this is not one you want to take in PvP. A lot of glass, a lot of stuff you will get easily blown out if you're in PvP with it. But in terms of a very clean, luxurious looking defense turret, like if you're using one of the other base designs like the Aqua Luxury Resort and you want this as a deployed sentry thing for it, this would work perfectly because it has that same cosmetics. And it's just such a clean looking interior. Like, I feel like I need to come back here and take my boots off before I come inside so I don't get dirt inside or sand, you know? We've got, of course, all the basic stuff, and it's very nice to see how well it's tucked in with the RCS kind of framing the medic station and everything here. Obviously, that is additional from what you need for a deployable defense sentry, but it is still, you know, what a lot of people are doing in case you don't want to use it as just a sentry. It's got the wireless connection and the core, and just generally all the basic stuff. We do have the Gatling guns at the front, so you can use it like a tank if you're driving along and need to take something out. And then it's got 4 rocket turrets, 6 Gatling guns, 4 plasma turrets, so you've got plenty of defensive capabilities. And in terms of resources, it's still very moderate in terms of the Zascosium, Erestrum, the Neodymium, and Cobalt. I'm surprised at how little silicon it needs, considering how much glass there is in this. Considering some of the other designs that you has done, there's a lot of silicon involved with the glass components. So it's really not that bad. And then you have the iron and sathium, which is actually really very moderate. In terms of power, if I turn the thrusters off, well, actually, there's a power save. If you turn power save off, it will give you that. And of course, it's not turning off the constructors, which you might not need all the time. So you get about 30 hours of use if you've got everything kind of minimized down. If you're trying to have, you want to make sure you keep your fridges active, you'll get that. If you turn off the fridges, you get 31. So not a huge boost to it. If you are using it as just a straight sentry drop-off design, then turn the fridges off too. But if you're using it for an actual tank to carry around, then, you know, don't worry about that. Just keep it active. And you can see it's got a nice set of RCS up here. And everything's framed, so you can't really tell that they're RCS from this side. It's just right here, and it's just got a nice little little design kind of thing going to it in a way. But yeah, there we go. That is Aqua's Crown by Yunalesca Kuriku. And it's Unlock 15, size class 3 design, and looks very much like the other designs Yunalesca has done. And maneuverability, well, let's take a quick try. Generally, maneuverability is not that big of a deal with the theme of this design, but we'll go ahead and do it just because you asked. But overall, really, this whole challenge, the vehicle doesn't have to be that maneuverable. It has to be able to get in and get out of a capital vessel or landing pad, and that's it. But with all those RCS, it actually has a pretty decent little turn capability. Speed acceleration is not really that great. It's very slow to accelerate. But again, you know, in terms of the design theme for the challenge, you do not need a lot of maneuverability for this. This was not about making a tank that can go in and strafe and do all this stuff. It is about setting up a hover vessel you can just deploy and leave in place. So it's decently maneuverable. I think part of it is not just the RCS, but also how much it has in the way of thrusters. It's obviously not carrying a huge amount of thrusters in the end. It's got a decent amount, but it's very sluggish on acceleration, so I think that is a part of it as to why it's not exactly the most spinning around type design. But that is Aqua's Crown by Yunalesca Kuriku. We still got quite a few designs left. Alright, here we go. So, next design, the UECM Sentry Station by BigDaddyHeazy. I had to look at that carefully. I thought it said happy for a second. BigDaddyHeazy. Or Hazy. However you want to say it. I'm thinking Heezy, like maybe it's Hezy, like heavy. BigDaddyHeazy. But it's Unlock 10, size class 1 design. Actually very cheap. You can see right here all the production stuff or resource costs. 4 miniguns, 1 rocket turret. And this is another one that's very much straightforward. Just, it looks like a little tower, a little defensive emplacement that you bring in, you set it down, and you leave it. That's pretty much all the design was meant to be for anyway for the challenge, was to come up with something that can serve that function of leaving it. We obviously have a shutter door here, so if you want to drive it in first person, you can. Guarantee that's what that is. Yep. So basically, that's just the driver's shutter. If you want to be able to sit here and be like, I want to look out this way, you can. If you don't like using that third-person view, otherwise you got that. Basic stuff, med station in case you get injured. You have the clone chamber in case you're, you know, using it for a tank. Manual door. If the door is open, it will interfere a bit with your switch. See that? It's not targeting the switch there, it's targeting the door. So if the door is open, it's going to interfere with your switch. But we got thruster armor. So green is sentry mode, transport mode is red. Green is active, red's inactive. So it seems like... I want to check this. Okay, so see like there, red, it seems like it would be the other way, but apparently that's... you're going to invert it. So when you're moving, you want that on green, the other one on red, so the armor's up for, you know, maneuverability, because it needs to be where they're not covered, so you can actually have real thrust. And then when you're done, when you're ready to sit down, you turn the thrusters off and then turn that on so it covers them up for protection. Let's see, there's 4 fridges, or 2 fridges, oxygen station, and armor locker. I'm not seeing any other switches. So spotlights are not triggered separately, it looks like. So you definitely probably want to turn the lights off if you don't want to have that drain on it. You don't need to see it at night, so you can save a little bit of power that way. Not a huge amount, but a little bit. Let's top it off a bit, and then... I mean, there's nothing, no specialty groups or anything like that. It's just the main switches. I do like, yes, as those of you are saying, the turret placements, the side things look nice. It honestly, you know, we do have retractable turrets, but at the same time, it almost looks like these are flip out. Like it's meant to flip outwards. Like when it flips in, that flips in with it on the inside, so this can fit in. You'll see the barrel retract, and basically this just flips it in, you know, going like that, and closes it up so it sticks up a little bit. But that's almost how it looks like to me, like it's meant to be a retractable mechanism for that. Definitely a very nice look and very straightforward. Let's see. Okay, that's just thruster armor. So very straightforward, does what it's supposed to do, does the job. It is a sentry thing you take, you drop it off, you shut things down, and you drive or you jump away, ride your bike, use your jetpack to jump and hop, lets you get away, works perfectly. And it's, you know, other than height-wise, it's not that big of a design. You can see, compared to some of the others, it's about the same footprint sidewise, but it's a little taller than some of the others. That might be the only thing you run into in placement in some cases, is you might have a little trouble getting it in a certain spot, depending on your capital vessel, because of the taller placement up top. But it's not that much taller than some of the others, so really, this is an easier one to park in terms of inside your capital vessels. But yes, this is the UECM Sentry Station by BigDaddyHeazy. I'm going to go with Heazy on it, because it looks like it's supposed to be almost heavy, so we'll go with Heazy. Unlock 10, size class 1 design. 4 minigun turrets, a rocket turret, and very cheap to build. Or, you know, the 10 cobalt, you could get this, you know, loot a couple of containers of a point of interest, and you should have that. Everything else should be decent enough to get. So, yes, that is a very nice little design there. Moving on to the next one. Let me pull that up. The Mini Mobile Sentry HV. You know, very, very straightforward name. It's very straightforward. It doesn't even have an enclosed cockpit. This is a true mobile sentry, as small as you can get. You know, just basically going super low. It's NMK111 is the creator. Unlock level 5, size class 1, but really it's 0.17 size class. And that unlock level 5 means basically, if you're worried about being attacked early in the game by, like, your planet is one of the ones that you start with a patrol vessel and you've already managed to get like a base going and you don't have that great of turrets on it, deploy a couple of these around. Even though it's just the miniguns, it can help. But definitely if you're just worried about, you know, predators, then this is all you need. This will take care of every predator that comes up on you right there. That's 6 minigun turrets right there, and then, you know, just some thrusters. It's got a nice little spot there for docking, so you can easily dock it down. And it's just super compact. It is the Mars rover with guns, yeah, kind of, except there's no grabby arm for sampling rocks. And the turrets are retractable. We do also have hover engines, RCS, that can be turned off. Let's turn that. So 46 hours with all of that. Well, hover engines are turned off. That's not all thrusters. That seems strange. I would turn off all thrusters. I would have it not just hover engines, because the hover engines, if they're not active, you really don't need the other ones too. Turn all of them off, and that way, yeah, 46 hours, 20 minutes. I would adjust that. Instead of just hover engines, just be all mobility stuff. And make sure that's, you know, completely off. And then, yeah, you've got all the turrets that are retractable. I don't really know why you'd want to retract them on this, or then maybe for driving, it looks better. You know, you can, you know, if you like first-person view, you can turn and look to the side. You can retract the guns, you know, same as turning them off to save power. It's cleaner looking, I guess, with the turrets off. Maybe you want it to be like, I don't see how you would want this to be a case of, I'm going to fool somebody by driving up on them like, oh, hey, I'm driving up. I've just got this, you know, set of turrets on the top and you have nothing to worry about. And then be like, bam, fooled you. I've got all these turrets. Let's go. If it was like heavy grade turrets, you know, pulse lasers, rockets, something like that, I could see it being something more for like a light PvP stuff. But I would definitely, I just don't see the point of having those retractable other than making it look a little bit cleaner. And in terms of, you're saying, Dante, sometimes it can make them slide away. That's definitely something that's just a bug in the game and needs to be fixed. I wouldn't worry about using that in the design as an excuse for having something. That just is something the devs need to fix. Much like sunlight, you know, coming through solid blocks still. But yes, this is the Mini Mobile Sentry HV by NMK111. Very cheap. I think the cheapest overall design so far, with 6 minigun turrets, 4 retractable, 2 minigun turrets. I would honestly probably, you know, if you're going to use this on planets later in the game, replace at least 2 of the retractable turrets maybe with, you know, rocket turret, pulse laser turret, something a little bit heavier so you can go up against the patrol vessels. Beyond that, you know, against predators, you're perfectly fine. You'll sit there and just slaughter them. It's a very small unlock level 5, so you can easily build this if you want as your first hover vessel in the game. You can get this pretty quickly. It's not that expensive overall, so you can always treat it as your initial hover vessel. There's just, you know, no real production or anything, so you'll need to plan if you use it for that instead of a sentry design. If you actually want to use it for like a tank, you'll need to add to it and make some adjustments for that purpose. Yeah, starter HV on an oxygenated planet. Honestly, it's still going to be a case you'll have to adjust around it not having any production or anything. Could be useful for driving around, but there's other cheaper designs that can do that too. I still say this would be just great if you need an early game defensive hover vessel that you want to put a little bit away from your base in case heavy attack comes in and you don't want to take damage on your base. Alright. Now we're going to get into one of the more interesting looking visually designs. This is the Waypoint Mobile Defense Tower. It looks like a walking defense tower. It actually looks a lot like some of the new defense towers we're seeing in the POIs with the Alpha 9 stuff. It looks like it's meant to walk in and then clamp down and hold still. And it's also interesting that the docking pads are on the top side, so it can dock basically to the underside of your capital vessel, and then you fly in and you're just like, all right, drop it down, and it flies down using thrusters in here to keep it from crashing into the planet. Or maybe you want it to land in a big boom, you know, like God, what we see in so many movies, like, oh, Avengers Infinity War, the ship comes down, crashes, big boom, knocks dust and debris everywhere. That's what you want, then you can do it. If not, you have thrusters to help it kind of, you know, slowly fall down and land on the ground. And then it's just basically that. It's also got this big spike here almost too, which makes it feel even more like these lift up. And it just falls down, buries itself into the ground with the spike, and then lifts out and you walk away to do the deployment. And coming in, it's basically, here's your drop bots, your container drop bots, armor locker, that we got light control, interior lights, exterior lights, if I can get that, there we go. And the lighting is all underneath. It also is a little bit more uneven design, smaller design, or, you know, the lights are closer to the ground level here, so you can see the areas covered are going to be a little bit differently sized. Then let me get that. Oh, and you got stuff there, yeah. Alright, I'm gonna have to go back down out of God mode to do this. It's too tight of a squeeze in there. So interior lighting, we come up. I got this kind of, you know, spindle here for, you know, spiral staircase almost. You have a switch for exterior lighting here, so that's helpful if you just want to do it here. Interior lighting, which is an either or, so it's not going to tie in where it works both ways. We got fridges. We got, of course, the normal stuff. You got medical storage right here. 3 constructors. Some passenger seats with a spot for them to play space chess. You know, like in Star Wars. Wireless connection. Thruster control. Weapons. We'll turn the thrusters off. There we go. So now we've got all these weapons. See, yeah, it looks like it's going to walk in, clamp down, and have this big artillery gun just start laying waste to some outpost, you know. And then it's got these for defending against attacks coming from different directions. It is interesting that, of course, you know, you've got the sides with the minigun up top, and then the plasma turrets lower, and minigun up here, plasma turrets, rocket turrets, and rocket turrets. So you may want to make sure you rotate a certain way. And then here you've got the miniguns here for targeting. You know, basically they're going to turn sideways and target. They're not going to target way out. Like this one won't target way out there, but that one and that one will. So you still have a good bit of coverage in terms of that, other than if a creature is fast enough to run here and get like right here and be like, aha, now you can't see me. Aha. You know, unless you've got a creature that knows to get right in there, you're not going to have any problems with that. And lotsoalts already updated the Praetorian design, so if you're looking to get those fixes, he's already got that done. So if you're checking it out afterwards, you'll be seeing all the changes already made, not anything to worry about there. Now, you will want to make sure, before you dock this thing, turn off your weapons, because you're not going to be able to dock it quite right, or it's not going to look right. It may still let you dock it, but it's not going to look right. It's going to look like you're cheating. You know, you're glitching everything through. We're going to turn that off. So make sure, yeah, when you get ready to dock, you do that, and then you know, have everything good to go. Go up top, and we got a lot of storage area up here, a lot of the container extensions for the different constructors. And that's it. That's the design. The Waypoint mobile defense tower. That's how it looks. It is a walking tower. Cost-wise, iron, sathium, of course, a little bit bigger. It's got more carbon substrate, copper, and silicon than the others. Restrooms, Ascosium, so far we've seen nothing with a lot of that. Most of the cases, it's been right around the same amount. Pretty much similar weapon loadouts on a lot of these, so you're not looking at anything too hefty on that. See, I'm at, you know, with the thrusters off, weapons on, 22 hours, 23 hours, depending on how close you get it to actually 100% fuel. So it'll work. It just doesn't have as much longevity as some other ones, but it does have a very nice cosmetic look to it. It looks like it's something that's going to be taken in and just, yeah, you're going to walk in, you know, or, you know, drop it to a planet and then walk in to where it needs to be and take over something, you know. But yes, this is the Waypoint Mobile Defense Tower, unlock level 20, size class 2, coming to us from Blasthaver. Very nice looking design. Makes me think, you know, War of the Worlds walker type thing, except those were tripods. This is a quadrupod, but yeah, it's very nice. You know, if the legs could move in this game, I would expect them to move correctly and just basically land it and walk it into place and then lock it in place by having the feet grip the ground because of the super powerful artillery gun causing it to recoil from every shot. That's what I would expect from this if we had that capability, but we don't. So that's the Waypoint. Alright, we're moving on. We're getting, I think we're over halfway through now. Finally. This is the OSP Testudo Mark 1L from TwoTon. And again, very nice visuals here. I like that. Very nice, kind of finning type thing. I guess a fin. rather than a grill is what it looks like. And again, we've got that right here. Gives a very nice separation with the thrusters, like that. Of course, you've got harvester modules on the front in case you do need to chop down some stuff. It's interesting that it looks more like a base than a hover vessel. Like, it really does feel more like a mobile base. Like, here's a docking bay for an SV and HV, you know, to actually have it carry another vessel with it. We have thrusters, we have RCS exposed in the wall, so try not to, you know, get too much going in here. You got easy access to the cargo boxes, which to me, I like this part, because why? I like going up, hitting F, grabbing stuff, moving it there like that, and be like, okay, that's the container for this, that's where I'm doing this. I like that because it works for me. That's more the way I play every other game, so I like that aspect where it's easy access from both sides. You have pilot seats as well as passenger seats for controlling turrets, whatever. We do have constructors in the floor, which is nice, and you can actually turn it on and off this way. You don't have to manually configure it that way. And then, that was loud. I'm not sure what that one just did. Let's see. That is Sentry Switch. Turns off thrusters, RCS, closes protected covers and thrusters. Well, okay, so that's the covers over the thrusters. Let's turn that back on. And cover your ears before you go deaf on this. There we go. Alright, so very much your thrusters are hidden, protected. You're not worried about that. So, very nice touch there. Sorry about it making anybody deaf. That's developer complaint right there. Need to tell them to fix the audio level. So very nice in here. I do like, ooh, that, you know, some of the new cosmetic stuff. Very nice detail on that. So 2 doors that lead in and out from this area. Then we have this side here, which also leads into there. More RCS on this side. Here's the door that actually leads out. And then we can come up here. And I like this because it's like a lookout tower. Like, hey, yeah, we're deploying it as a base, not like just a little sentry outpost, but it's a mobile base, and it's going to, you know, you'll have somebody up here, especially on the oxygenated planet, looking out. You know, this is the crow's nest to keep an eye out on everywhere, making sure nothing's sneaking up, like, oh crap, patrol vessel, guys, patrol vessel, get ready, you know, that sort of thing. So that's a very nice touch there. I do like that. And I really like the docking thing for a small vessel or tiny hover vessel, because that feels more like a portable base type thing. Yeah, manned outpost, like Doom is saying. You come in, you deploy it, and you have a crew that stays on board and works with production or with, like, you know, harvesting from the local area, maybe stripping apart a point of interest, and then you have like a little hover vessel that goes out and starts harvesting up rocks, boulders, maybe a resource deposit nearby, something like that. That's definitely more what it feels like to me as well, in terms of the overall design. Let's turn on all the weapons. And thank you, Mondo. Happy holidays and happy New Year to you. So we got a good complement of weapons. Of course, big artillery turret. So you're going to be doing a lot. This is like a mobile attack and work platform rather than a just portable sentry thing. This is something I would not build and deploy outside my capital vessel. This is something I would take and deploy to attack and dismantle a point of interest rather than the, you know, just a quick little sentry thing to protect your precious capital vessel from major damage. But yes, very nice design. I like overall the visuals work great. I do love the allowance for certain things like the crow's nest, the docking bay for a smaller HV or hover vessel. I could see this being something like if we ever get an upgrade to the mini bike, the little motorbike, like little hover bikes that are pre-built. You can't design your own. You just get it's a basic hover bike. I could see this being a place where, yeah, grab the hover bike and head out, you know, for a quick little recon or whatever, quick little operation while this stays in place and all the work's being done. So it looks good, definitely functions in terms of a mobile structure type thing. We've got outside spotlight, so you can keep things lit up at night, so you're not worried about, you know, not seeing some creature running up on you. Resource-wise, it's probably, I think, the most expensive one so far in terms of a restroom and Zascosium, or the second most expensive at least. More neodymium and cobalt than some of the others, but generally the iron, sathium, copper, all that is not that different than some of the other designs we've seen. It does have the 7 harvester modules, of course, on front. We've got the minigun turrets, rocket turrets, plasma turrets, artillery turrets. Same stuff we're seeing in a lot of other ones. If we turn off the thrusters, RCS, hover engines, all that, just basically the weapons, make sure it's full up. Right, 35, 36 hours kind of range. Am I going to choose one of the builds, Hemp? No, I don't choose anybody as a winner. It's just a challenge to make everybody step out of their comfort zone. Try something different. I will point out certain designs that I feel fit the rules of the challenge best when we're done. But I'm not going to pick like one as the, like, there's no winner type thing for this. But yes, this is, again, the OSP Testudo Mark 1L by creator TwoTon, unlock level 20, size class 3. You got plenty of stuff on it, plenty of things to, you know, work with. And it's basically not a mobile sentry, it's a mobile work platform. Kind of like some of the other ones we've seen. It's much more of a, take this, sit it down somewhere, and use it as your temporary mobile base as you do some things. And Doom, I'm glad I made you step out of your comfort zone. That's kind of the part of these challenges, to get you to do something different. Alright, now, moving on. We are coming up, and hopefully, you know, you're not going to walk away with some nasty problem from this, because we're about to have crabs, or the crab, that is. The crab hover vessel by Renderin. He has done a few other designs. Now, this is the largest size class so far, size class 10, and it's unlock level 20. And it's definitely a bigger design, but not the biggest one. You can see overall, it's really, in terms of component-wise, it's on par with the, like, the Mobile Fortress Epsilon overall, but just because of what it's got in it, it's got a larger class size. Has, you know, this nice spot here that could clear an area. You can basically park it over something and be like, hey, I'm going to park this on top of this resource deposit while I work. You've got, you know, if it had a bunch of drill turrets here, I could see that working really well. It's got the artillery turret there. The top of it is open. We got a nice little spot to walk up here. I guess you could call this like a landing pad for stuff. You know, for hover vessels, or, well, more small vessels if they can, you know, get them to dock onto it. It's got docking pads on the sides. Yep, so both sides, so you can dock it to the side of a vessel rather than having to dock it reverse or, you know, from the top or anything. Come up the side here on either side. Come up, nice winding pathway. And here we are inside, which has the same cosmetic look. You've got the container extensions, the constructors. Container extensions, which actually are kind of mixed into the structure of the wall, so it's not so noticeable. It doesn't stand out like, oh hey, there's another piece of a container. Armor lockers, clone chambers. You got this nice little force field area, which kind of gives a very interesting look to it. Shutter door for that, I guess, you know, extra if you're taking straight on head shots with that kind of thing. Water recovery. Okay, so there's a mode in case you get stuck in water. So you can get out of water with it. Of course, we got medical over here. You got, well, it looks to be just basically an enclosed area so you can look down. I think I would have rather had it where instead of it being like this, just a glass piece across the top. So you can actually look down and stand on top of it and be able to look through it. And that, to me, would have been a nicer touch to it. And then you have the constructors over here, everything like that. Kind of like the power plant section up here, which is nice. And then we have a little ramp, which Apparently my angling is making that a little bit harder to walk up right now, but we have this to walk on top, which again, you know, I see it for being, if we could do small vessel docking, great. If not, I would rather have the artillery turret up here and put like some drill turrets down here, so you could park this on top of a resource deposit and then harvest away. Yeah, the power plant section definitely looks really nice. I like that. I like this kind of command control area right here. This does look like you know, a small power plant type fuel power production facility. I do like this right here. It looks like either it's a really weird looking gun, cannon type thing, or it's a loudspeaker because it does have that grill, or maybe it's like because it does have a water recovery mode, you could think of it like a snorkel for an engine. So if you go in water and this gets stuck down in water, that is still above the water level, so you basically have airflow for the engine to help keep everything from like getting clogged up. So that could be what that is. In terms of the way I see it, that's what it makes me think of right there. And that's interesting. We've got an interesting look to it, like missing certain pieces there. And this one's different. Renderin, you may have missed a couple of pieces on this one side. It looks like you did. So hopefully you're, if you're not with us right now, I don't remember seeing any posts from you. But yeah, you might want to make a little tweak to it. Make sure to fix that little part, because that is missing some pieces there. And then you got the whole back piece. I do like the blue here, but I wish it was more customizable. I would rather see something than blue on this. Maybe like a reddish brown color so it blends in more with the actual cosmetic coloring on everything else than that blue. That blue kind of makes it stand out a little bit too badly. And it almost does make it look like that's the face of it from the crab. Like, look, there's the little, you know, antennas, and there's the eyes and a little bit of a face and everything. But if I go here, this is the facing front of the ship. This is the way it drives. So that looks to be the face, but it's not the face. This is the direction we should be driving in. So that throws me off a little bit there. But otherwise, I do like the concept, the overall design. It looks pretty nice. So yeah, other than missing those blocks, I feel like, you know, overall great work on this. Again, I would personally, I would rather have it, instead of this little bubble type thing here, have the underside like that, but make it where the top piece here is just a flat piece of glass going across, so you can stand on top of it, kind of like this, and just look straight down through it. Make it feel a little bit more, you know, out of the way in terms of how I feel. And it looks like may have missed the coloring change on these two right there as well, Renderin. Or, well, maybe not, unless you were doing it symmetrical and then that messed up. But maybe you meant for the two on each corner to be like that. If not, then yeah, that's in there too. But yeah, it looks good. It's very nice. It's 8 harvester modules, you know, split between 2 legs, 4 rocket turrets, 2 minigun turrets, an artillery turret, and the 4 plasma turrets. It's more expensive in terms of iron, sathium, carbon, copper, silicon. But again, pretty much the same standard we're seeing everywhere else. The 190 Restrum's Ascosium, 60 carbon, or 60 cobalt, and 50 neodymium. Because of the weapon choices, it's not really that overly expensive in the end. Power-wise, hovers off. Everything thruster-wise is off. I mean, fill it back up. You're not getting a huge amount of longevity out of this. Just under 5 hours. So definitely could use a little bit more tuning if it's going to be used for a deployable sentry. But in terms of just a mobile platform to work from, it works well. You just don't have as much, you know, longevity in terms of power as some of the other designs. And it does have a beat up look to it, like that. It looks like it's been out there and seen a little bit of combat, had some repair done. So overall, very nice. That is the Crab. Unlock 20, size class 10 from Renderin. I'll let you get another view of it while I pull up the info on the next one. We are coming down to the last designs. Alright. Yeah, it'd be nice if we could do like solar panels, stuff like that. It'd be nice if we could dock small vessels and hover vessels, like lower class size ones, to other ones. Like this could absolutely have a small vessel on top. That one could absolutely dock a small hover vessel inside, or two, depending on how wide they were. We should have that option. That should be that's something I expected long ago. But you know, that's not something that we're getting right now. At least not that I've seen added in the recent updates. Alright, so now we're looking at the Mayflower, or it's on the workshop, also under IPR Mayflower MDT. This is from Hemp. Hemp, you are here. Say hi. This is definitely another one that fits to that portable tower look, and has the legging type style, the walker look to it as well. You can see we do have the harvester modules for getting through trees. More concerned with the trees right in front. If you miss the tree right through here, you may have to adjust your trajectory a little bit. But yeah, it's overall got that walker look to it. And of course the docking pads underneath, keeping it from being flush to the ground. If we got what's kind of like wings back here in a way, and it's actually a ramp. I guess maybe a ramp for helping to stabilize it, like obviously an artillery turret on top is what I'm thinking. Yep, so my assumption then is this is meant to be a ramp that gets deployed, so when the artillery turret fires and it has that recoil, it keeps it from toppling over. That would be my expectation. You can tell me if I'm wrong, Hemp. For walking up to the cockpit. Ah, okay, I see it on the side here. Oh, my thought process there also works too. I like the idea of it being for stopping recoil. But alright, so you got basically, you know, several containers. You got lever, which gives you nice protection there. Okay, so that's your shield. Get that. So, oh, no, why it didn't turn itself on. Okay, standby mode, energy saver, which is utility mode. Let's see, that's okay. That's utility mode, energy saver. So basically, it just turns off all the unnecessary, you know, screens. Let you basically do everything except for the turrets. We'll do that. Yeah, so that turns like thrusters and stuff on. Utility mode. Basic defense. Heavy defense. So you got different modes for what it can do. That's nice. Utility mode. Let's see. We got drill turret. So that's going to be the utility mode, I would assume then, is to be digging out a resource deposit. Heavy defense mode. So basically that, and then we have constructor mode right there. And well, let's see how it looks with all the turrets out. So that's everything deployed turret wise. We'll take these out. But yeah, very, very formidable. You got a cockpit here, so you don't have to go all the way up. You can just come in here, pilot this way, and drive along, but you are exposed from that spot. If you want the protected one, you come here. And if you have your turrets deployed, you got something in your way. So if you want to drive first person, make sure you know, take all the turrets out. Which it looks like that's not turning anything off. So let's do this. Let's see what happens. So it turns that off and retracts that. So that's the only real retractable one. Everything else is fixed. So it just turns that off. Docking pad up top, so that's nice. You can dock it to the underside and drop it down. And then dock it on like a regular platform. You said you want me to turn on the shield. Well, apparently since that is not a retractable turret, you're going to have that in front of your face the whole time, whether you're driving with the shield or not. And so there goes the LCD, which I guess you want me to show the, you know, warning things there with all that. There we go. Alright, so let's say this is... Obviously, we're not going utility mode. We want this to be standby mode, and we're going to be dropping it off to do, you know, hey, this is to protect us. So basic defense mode puts us at 13.5 hours. Down from, with no turrets, weapons active, just under 15 hours. So you're not going to lose too much power duration by turning on the basic one, which should be... Well, let's see. Well, the turrets are... So we're not doing it from the groups there. Okay, so... That is just going to be a mixture of the different guns. And then you have the heavy defense mode, which is going to give you 12 hours. 12.5 hours. With everything active. Okay, and also docking pad there. So you can dock it to the back of a ship, or, you know, back it up to dock it. You can dock it on a normal pad with those, or you can dock it underneath a vessel as long as you turn off the heavy weapon defense mode. And that's a nice touch, a little junction box with a red dot on it. Very nice design, very nice. Feels like a walking defense turret type design. Obviously will last quite a while, and does give the extra benefits if you're looking for a mobile base. But it's got that walker look to it with the leg struts. Maybe not even a walker, just, you know, leg struts, shock absorbers for keeping it level as it drives over uneven terrain. So it's got wheels, but when one side kind of goes up, it's got that little absorption so you don't rock back and forth like that. You can look at it like that way as well instead of just walkers. And it's got like a set of eyes in the front. It's looking at you. It's looking at you, trying to pass judgment on whether or not to blow you to pieces. That's what it's doing. But this is the Mayflower by Hemp. He is in the chat right now, or he was a minute ago. Yeah, he's still there. So it's an unlock level 20, size class 1 design. Good bit of turrets, of course. And overall, it's more expensive for the Erestrum and Zascosium, some of the other designs, but cheaper on the Neodymium and Cobalt than we've seen in most. And overall, the Iron, Sathium, Copper, Silicon, and so forth is a lot cheaper than a lot of the other designs. So it's a really good design, very creative on the cosmetic look of it. And it does, you know, give me a look like, hey, this is somebody looking at me. Like, there's his eyes, there's his nose, and he's looking at you very, unapprovingly. He thinks you should download this design and use it in all of your games from now on. That's what he's thinking right there. That's what this guy is saying right now. Go download the design from the workshop. But that is the Mayflower. And now we're getting down to the last bit of the designs for the submissions. Starting with one of the most creative named ones here, the Ugly Metal Boss. Ugly Metal Boss. So obviously, you know, you're not looking at it as being the prettiest thing. It's the ugliest thing. It comes to us from Virus. It's unlock 20, size class 1, very small design, much more compact, fits in, and I like the little leg type things, like, oh, you fly in, set it down, you've got these to hold it in place. You've got these other ones here, like if you want to sit it on top of a boulder, you can. You kind of sit it on top of a mountain peak. It'll kind of clamp on top of it. Have like teeth that lock in and hold it. And then you got docking clamps on the sides so that it can easily dock to either direction, and other than the, you know, the gun barrels, you've actually got clearance with the turrets themselves. And let's see, that is fuel access there. So if you want to go in there, well, it says fuel, but that opened up ammo boxes. And not on this side. This is ammo. Okay, so, Virus, you got the names backward. This says ammo on the switch lever, and it's opening up the fuel tanks. And this one says fuel, and it's opening up the ammo cover. So, backwards. But when you're not in God mode, you're not going to see it anyway. Like there, it just says lever, and it says A on there. So that's just a tiny little thing in the signal there. Let's see, this is thrusters. So you can do that to turn on your thrusters or turn off your thrusters. Let's see. Hover engines, I see that. Thrusters are, oh, embedded. So I guess that's the signs like thrusters and goes up. Hover vessel, cockpit, access right there. We see using other designs where you just click to the back of it and get in. It does, it looks like a tower. It looks like a regular tower, like you would just go walk in, be like, yep, let's set this thing down, and, you know, there you go. So you jump up, got this here, and there you go. Let's see, engines, we've got that group. But that's not turning on my RCS, it looks like. RCS, they're active, it's just not... It's not wanting to move for me. It's not rotating or anything. Something's acting goofy here. I thought I would actually draw this one, and it's not wanting to do anything. Also, it looks like it's kind of like not at 3 meters above the ground. Make sure that's on. That it's not missing something. Yeah, it's not... It's jiggling, but I'm not getting, like, up at all. I'm not moving any, so I don't know if it's just acting like I'm stuck or, you know, in the ground, like it's treating like it's embedded in some way, or... I don't know why. It shouldn't be stuck in the ground. I didn't spawn any of these at ground level. I spawned them above the ground and it dropped in. So it should not be stuck in the ground. I made sure to drop it in from above so I didn't have that problem. But we'll dig out just to make sure. It fell. It's not turning at all. There's something missing. Alright, hover engines are off. So the engines did not turn on the hover engines. So that was missing. RCS, it needs to be in part of one of the groups. That didn't turn anything on. So it was just the hover engine. So Virus, if you're watching, that you need to fix that. Engines did not apply to the hover engines, which really I kind of need those to be able to move. That's what the problem was no hover engines. That's thrusters, but not the hover engines. So there's the problem with that. So there we go. There we have that. Obviously none of these are meant to be super speedy. Just meant to take it, drop it off, and deploy it. So there we go. Let's turn that off. Let's check the hover engine. Yeah, it's still on. So those need to be included some way, because really you're not gonna, I mean... I'm not going to leave the hover engines going. That's just power consumption. And with all that turned off, you're looking at, well, about 20 hours if I could get it to fill up. 21 and a half hours. So, not bad, but not as good as some of the other designs in terms of fuel longevity. It could be a problem with the signal logic being buggy. Yeah, I've noticed that with other ones where, you know, even putting on the workshop, it does not transfer the signals across correctly. But that is the Ugly Metal Box by Virus, and it is basically the same setup. You got the same, everybody's doing pretty much the same turrets overall. So you're seeing the same Arrestrum, Zescosium, Cobalt, Neodymium cost across most designs. In terms of everything else, this is a much cheaper design. Definitely a very easy to build and deploy multiple ones of these around your base, around your capital vessel, rather, if you're doing what the overall theme is. Take it in, deploy 3 or 4 of these outside your capital vessel in a large area, you know, and then anything coming into the area is going to get encountered by these first before it encounters your capital vessel, making sure your capital vessel is protected, at least against the big patrol vessels. Usually, I don't think the capital vessels are a problem with drones, but patrol vessels might do some damage. But yeah, that is the Ugly Metal Box. And it is, I mean, one of the cheaper designs. It fits more to that size that we're looking for. Much more compact. But it's the UMB Ugly Metal Box by Virus. And now, last but not least, necessarily, this is our final submission. And this is from Dante. This is the Death Sphere. And it takes kind of like we've seen in some other designs before, especially one Danielle did, where taking advantage of a segmented piece where here's the lower section, there's the upper section. So this is the actual lower part, the docking bay part, which unfortunately because of the size, you're probably going to be docking this on the outside of your ship rather than inside the ship. And of course it's extremely loud with all the shutter doors there. Let's get in, and we've got just this little walk around. Shutter door for fuel access if you want to be able to look at it that way. And you got your driving point here to control everything. But really the main bulk of it is this part, and it looks like it's connected. You know, there's like a hover, a anti-grav attachment top thing. Oh, so you're aiming for the smaller hangars so you can park it inside, but the outside part will sit up above the ship. That's definitely something. If it doesn't interfere with docking, then it definitely is something that, you know, somebody's gonna be a little bit more cautious about when they dock it, because like, oh, that's gonna stick outside my ship. I may not want that outside my ship. But that's cool if it does let you do that without having to, you know, without it saying that you can't put that here because it's got the whole structure. I know when I spawned it in, it spawns it as a single large block. Like you can see the spawning area treats it as like the whole structure. So if it doesn't make you, you know, if it doesn't give you a problem docking it that way, then that's a nice benefit to it. I do like the thruster. Well, not really thruster, but it's like the little glowing, I guess, anti-grav type stuff here. That's what it looks like to me. You got, of course, your retractable turrets here, which having it up this high is a nice touch. It gives you a very good range of targeting area, so that, you know, they can, it doesn't matter really where they are, they can be seen at some point by it and get targeted. Spotlight slope, that's interesting, you know. Spotlight's way up there. I want to see how that looks before we're done. Nice texturing on the inside. Of course, you're not really going to be seeing this because you're not going to be coming up here to this point. Well, that's interesting. You actually can see it kind of attached on the outside. little piece there. That's the outside of it. Alright, so let's see. We got a lot of turrets on it. Obviously, you've got to have a way to turn them on. You've got DEFCON 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So that's going to be part of, you know, what is it that's on and off. So obviously, we've got nothing going right now. So what is that? That turns on some weapons. Alright, so that's the outside, I guess, minigun is what it looks like from here. So, DEFCON 1, you got a predator coming after you, something like that. Yeah, okay, that's it. DEFCON 2, we've got lights. So DEFCON 2 turned on the lights, and it's actually got very good range to it. Let's do a nighttime view. So very good range for it. You're not going to see anything up close right here, but in the distance, it's got a good visibility range. You can see how much it's lighting up the Mayflower and Crab over there from that distance. So that seems to be DEFCON 4. Simply turns on the exterior light. So it's a little bit more of a, like, yeah, we're more risky, but it's because it's nighttime. Not so much like, it doesn't seem to have any extra weapons getting triggered right here that I can see. Let's go with DEFCON 3. Alright, now we've got something. Something came out. Is it here? Looks like it's just the one turret there. Okay, so the underside and side turrets unloaded. So we've got... So, DEFCON 3, you've got a lot of retractable minigun turrets. So, let's say you've got a horde of raptors, like I had over there at the beginning. So, you come in, you're all, oh crap, there's a big horde of raptors chasing after me. DEFCON 3! And these all start targeting that. You've got 6 guns total going. You got 3 there, 1 on each side, and 1 there. So 6 minigun turrets start firing at the raptors horde coming after you. DEFCON 2. We're getting a little bit riskier. So now we've got the plasma turret and some rocket turrets coming out of everywhere. And I have a feeling that DEFCON 1 is going to be the artillery turret. Yep, big artillery turret pops out. So that's DEFCON 1. You are really needing some power for defense. And it does that. Let's actually lower this down into the ground. I want to see how it looks when I'm sitting completely on the ground. We'll turn off all engines. I see it rocking a little bit because of the terrain, but yeah, so basically it comes in here. What would be nice is if they ever added the functionality for this type of build in the game, in that can be a deployed pod that hovers right above because of anti-gravity, so you can actually have a connector piece, and what is you trigger that and it launches it up to that point, and then when you're not using it, you just go, yeah, you know, retract it, and it goes down, locks in there, and you just have this little pod that you drive around, whatever. You drive it, you park it over here, and you're like, alright, it's time to deploy. This locks in place, it deploys that above it, and then that just sits there and is the, you know, sphere of death, as it's named, Death Sphere. So it is an interesting design. I definitely, you know, the fact that you say it can work with even the smaller docking bays, because it can go in even though there's the gap there. I still feel like some people are going to be like, I don't like that because it sticks out above their ship. And some people may be like, you know what? I built a ship to have a docking bay here and a docking bay here so I could dock these and have these little orbs floating along outside my ship as I'm flying around. So that there's going to be people that like it for that cosmetic. Some people are going to be like, I like it, but I don't want to use it because of that cosmetic. Unless they just dock it on the outside of their ship. But very unique design, very interesting approach to it. Unlock level 20, size class 2. And cost-wise, again, the same pretty much default we've seen with everybody else in terms of weaponry. So we've got the same 190 Restrum Zescosium, 60 Cobalt, 50 Neodymium. Cost-wise, the Iron Sathium a bit more because of the build. Silicon, Carbon, Copper, not so bad for it. But that is a very interesting build. Now, it will be something, if you use it, you have to get used to the idea of like what the different ones do. Like DEFCON 4 turns off the spotlight, or well, DEFCON 4 was supposed to turn on the spotlight, turn them off. Okay, so anything below DEFCON 4 turns on the spotlight. So when you have any DEFCON 1, 2, or 3, or 4 active, any of those, it's going to turn on the spotlight. So basically, and what Dante's saying there, you can just turn on DEFCON 1 and it turns on everything. So you don't have to click each one in succession. But that basically means that even if you're like, I don't need the spotlights on, it's daytime, I don't need the spotlights on for DEFCON 4, it's going to still have them on. So that is something, if you're planning to use this as a deployable sentry, you may want to have it where it's, you may have to reconfigure it so it doesn't do the spotlights the whole time, because that is power consumption. DEFCON 1, 33 hours of use, roughly. DEFCON 99, 61 hours of use. So DEFCON 5, 57, DEFCON 4, 50. So you see right there, that's 7 hours of use just from the spotlights being turned on. 42 hours with 2 gives you 33 hours, and then 32. So really, DEFCON 1, DEFCON 2, you're not going to see a huge difference in power consumption, but anything before that, you're going to see a lot more power consumption with that. So interesting design, very interesting approach with the, you know, DEFCON levels. I think some people are going to want a little bit more custom ability than that in terms of what they have active, so they can control the power consumption more. But that is it. That is the last design. That's the Deathsphere by Dante, and of course all the other ones we've had so far. So we'll do a quick flyby again. So we have, of course, the Defense Bastion Zeta. We have the Hellfire 15. The MSG Praetorian Mobile Defense Platform, or, you know, Desert Battle Vehicle. The Cyclops by Zombie Exile. The Carapace Sentry. The Mobile Fortress Epsilon. The Aqua's Crown. UECM Sentry Station. Mini Mobile Sentry. Waypoint Mobile Defense. The Testudo Mark 1L. Crab. Mayflower. Ugly Metal Bots. And Deathsphere. And jrandall CrazyZ. Where were their designs in the list? Because I went down one by one and put everything from the list in there. And I'm pretty sure I spawned them all. Let me double check. But I went through one by one, and we've gone one spot at a time up through the list. If they were there, I must have missed them at some point, but I know they were, let me look. So, yep, that Defense, the Hellfire, Praetorian, Exile, that, Epsilon, Aqua, UECM, the Mini Sentry, that. Oh, the Gigantes. Okay, I did miss that one. And, oh, the CrazyZ. Yeah, I did miss those for some reason. Why did it not add those? Let me look for them. Thank you for pointing that out, because I went through and tried to add them all. Apparently, it did not subscribe me to them, even after I clicked subscribe. I've been noticing that lately. I'll have to click subscribe sometimes 3 or 4 times before it actually adds me to it. So, yeah, give me just a minute, and I will actually get that taken care of. And thank you for pointing that out. I'll have to redo the game. Reload the game real quick so it can download the new stuff. And yep, looking at it, the jrandall's design, it said I was still not subscribed to it, even though I clicked it repeatedly. And it looks like, yeah, CrazyZ's design is not subscribed either again. Alright, let me oh, it says the blueprint has been updated. Maybe maybe they fixed that where I don't have to exit the game now for that. Did it do that? I know at one point you had to actually I didn't forget it. I went through and clicked every single one, and I'm going down my list in Steam, and it said they're not on the list. It never subscribed me to them, even though I clicked it. Because I remember seeing both of those when they were originally submitted to the workshop, and apparently it still did not subscribe me to them for some reason. And it's still not subscribing me to them. So yeah, let me back out and let this resubscribe everything, because that's still a major problem. That oh yeah, look, it had to update. It had to update the game real quick while I was doing it. The list is, my list is not full. I definitely do not have my list full, because I do not keep designs on for a long period of time unless I am playing with that design. So I don't know about blaming Alpha Nom. I've been noticing this problem with designs not subscribing when I click the subscribe button, even with it was Alpha 8. I think it's a oh great, yeah, of course I was flying when that happened. So let me fix my game back up where I need it, and I need to fix my dang broken leg. Alright, let's see. So we're gonna go ahead. We'll just throw them over here. So the Deimos, we'll put there. Was it that it? I need to. I'm no, not the Deimos. The Gigantes. That's what it was. So we'll ignore that one, and I'll have to update the game save after this. Oh, that's a good design there. It's just not the one that was for the challenge. So here we go. Here's this. And then we had the... What was the next one? Cataclysm. There we go, finally. Alright, so we'll look at these now. Let's see. Gotta fill it up. And so this is definitely more like a mobile... like tank type thing, because I mean this looks like just a tank that's meant to roll everything over. It looks like the machines in Avatar, where they're going in, they're bulldozing the whole area to harvest you know, the metal from everything. That's kind of what it makes me think of, rather than just a deployable sentry. It's definitely more like a tank than anything else. More of a, you know, mobile base, you know, tear everything up and defend yourself the entire time. I like the shelving element there. I like the cosmetic piping inside. So basically, this is like the entry level. I do like this. This sci-fi container small. Okay, I do like this. The little, you know, we have some cargo boxes in here. We're taking that to the other base and dropping them off. You know, that's their personal duffel containers. Exterior lights, of course, jrandall, having all the different switches, everything tied in right. Mobile mode, turn off when docked to save fuel, loud noise. Yep, loud noise from, I guess, all the doors, shutters, doing that. Got battle mode is all weapons. Then off leaves basic 360-degree fence on. So you do still have at least some protection on, which to me, that makes me think the minigun turrets. Yeah, see, like rocket turrets are off, but the minigun turrets are there, still on. So basic defense, meaning predator protection there. And then battle mode turns everything on. Then crafting mode turns on constructors, mining, and multi-turret. So you can actually break down a point of interest. You can mine out resource deposits. You can do all of that from here. This is really a mobile base, not a, you know, defense platform for defending your capital vessel, but more for going out and working your way through the planet and doing everything. And then you've got the, you know, storage bay there. You've got multiple constructors, food, harvest bay, volume 2500, cockpit there. And let's go upstairs. Let's take a look up the ramp. We got another cockpit, so you can either have the visuals outside, or you can have the enclosed cockpit below, which gives you more protection. You also have room for passengers who operate turrets when they're here. And his, you know, nice little touch that he throws in there, drone hatch. So you can launch your drone outside to do some, you know, stealing resources from Zerats that you've killed or whatever. And you got this space back here. I guess more room for decoration or something that can be added there. Maybe something else. Maybe later on we can have our own, like, we could put drones in and pick them up and say, this is the drone I want to use. That might be a nice little spot for that. You got a spot here. You can put some more, the cargo boxes here for, like, decoration if you want. Alright, let's look at power consumption. So, obviously, if it's meant to be a mobile sentry, you're going to have battle mode on for protection. And you're looking at 20 hours of use. If we turn off the battle mode, 22 hours of use. So not a huge amount. You're still going to have the basic turrets going. This is just a little bit more. Really, crafting is going to use up a lot of power, of course. And then mobile mode, moving everything around is going to use up power. And then you just drop it in place and have that. I do like the front harvester section. It looks like, you know, it's got a post or almost shock absorption there for when it hits a tree. It pushes back a little bit and then grinds right through of it. You know, there's your covers for all the thrusters outside. Like that. Very nice. You know, just an overall very nice mobile base top design. Mobile sentry is definitely going to be a little too costly, I'm sure, for just a quick deployable sentry in terms of most of the designs like that. Yeah, Jaguar Buzzer says, once you put this on the planet, it's staying on the planet. It's definitely bigger. You're going to want it to be like a load it in on a large exterior platform, probably, instead of trying to go through a hangar door. It might fit through a hangar door, but it's definitely a larger one. It's going to be needing the larger parking area. Resource-wise, you are looking at a lot more expense in certain things. Definitely more expensive in terms of a restroom and Zascosium, but not by much. The main thing is, of course, that carbon, copper, silicon, sathium, iron, all are much higher in this one than some of the other designs. Harvester modules, sentry gun, you know, the miniguns, rocket turrets, artillery turret, plasma turrets, Gatling guns, drill turrets, multi-turrets. So you do have a lot of production capability that does go above and beyond the theme of it being just a drop-off deployed sentry, in terms of, like, you know, I'm dropping this off to defend my capital vessel. This is more of you're going around the planet in it, taking over everything, and then coming back to drop everything off at your base later on. But yeah, that is the Gigantes MFB by jrandall. What's the MFB stand for? Let's look. Mobile Fire Base. So it really is just more of a base than just a little sentry deployment, but it is definitely something. If you want a heavy duty hover vessel to function as your base as you travel the whole planet, conquering it all and strip mining everything you can, this is one for you. And now CrazyZ, let me get your power thrown in here, and we are looking at the Cataclysm MF. MF, obviously not standing for Mother something, but Mobile Fortress. Cataclysm Mobile Fortress. So, it actually, to me, looks more like a small vessel. It looks almost like it has wings. It looks like it would be, you know, from this side, you're kind of looking like, I would expect this thing to be flying at me. Yes, kind of a throwing star type look, a shuriken sort of look to it. And it's got points there, like it's going to be used to ram things and stab something. We do have harvester modules at different points to, you know, take care of any pesky trees in the way. You've got, well, by default, right now we've got our miniguns out. So you've got basic defense. And we've got attack mode, mobile mode, constructors. Let's hop inside. And we'll see where we have all our different access options here. Seeing nothing on the lower section. So, where we go? Up top? Ah! Nope, yep. It's right here next to that. Got a spot that drops you in. I'm sure I'll find something else on the way to get out. There we go. Ah! So you definitely need it to be sitting above you or know just where it is. That's very well hidden. Like, it looks just like a little piece there. That is very well hidden in terms of the base design. Very nice touch there. Hopefully you're not trying to find that while under heavy fire. Cargo boxes. Yep, and standalone cargo boxes. So, very much the way I like things. We've got, of course, medic station right as you come in so you can heal. Static mode or mobile mode. Static mode, obviously, I'm assuming you mean for it to stay stationary. Defense mode or attack mode. So, attack mode, all the turrets come out to play. And defense mode is just sitting there protecting you against the general drone, predator type attacks, everything like that. Constructors. Okay, so constructors on and off. That, you got another cockpit back here, which gives you a separate little protected area. Constructor right there, which is one of the outside constructors, right? Yep, so the outside, the ones from down below, so you can actually do a lot of work that way. To me, this feels very much like the old, 8.5 top design style of things. Yeah, so alright, so let's see. Power consumption wise. We're in not attack mode, but this, is like defense mode. So I guess you could technically turn everything off with it if you didn't want to worry about defending. But if you're going to do that, I would assume you dock it and then turn it off because it's inside your capital vessel or on your capital vessel and going to the next planet type of thing. So 15 hours in a static mode, basically meaning to sit here. No thrusters. Constructors are, it says half on, but that says off. So there's got to be at least one constructor somewhere that seems to be on still. But we do have, basically 15, 16 hours of use range like this. If you turn everything on in terms of we're static mode, if you go battle mode, because you need heavy defense, then 11 hours. And if we go with that, we're just driving along, we're not attacking, we just need some basic defense, but we're moving it, 13 hours. So it's a decent overall balance. But I feel like, depending on the planet, if you go up against, of course, a planet with a very hefty patrol vessel and you need all the weapons out at a time, it's going to drain a decent bit more power. Hopefully you're going to take it somewhere and, get rid of the patrol vessel, then be able to go with basic defenses. And I'm assuming, yeah, the piloting here is if you want to just sit out, like if you're driving along attacking and, oh, there's, we've got some Zerats out there we're killing. I'm going to fly up and out. See if I get to stay open. Oh yeah, no jetpack on right now in this game. You fly out and you can sit up here and then you can jump in, fly along, do what you need to do, and then deploy your drone to go collect from a Zerats or a Predator, whatever, and then jump right back in instead of having to come out through the underside like this to collect anything, and instead of having to use like a drone hatch like we've seen. But yeah, that's a very nice design. I like the, hidden little door. Let me find that door again. Where is that door? Okay, it's on this other side here. So if you're facing the front, it's on the, was it starboard side? I think you'll run it here and there you go. So nice design. Cost wise, you are looking at not that expensive. Same weaponry type setup. Arrestrums, Ascosium, Neodymium, Cobalt. Same as many of the other designs. So a lot of these are very similar in cost. The real difference between most of them is going to be, of course, how large they are in terms of physical dimensions and docking them. And then, of course, the difference in iron, sathium, copper, silicon, and the carbon substrate. And then you know, how much power they use, how much they can do in terms of longevity with their power consumption, things like that. So a lot of these are going to be very similar in overall functional aspects in terms of just the general use and power consumption and weaponry. But you're going to see a lot of these, you know, it's going to feel more like a situational type thing for some of these when you start playing with them in your own game, I think. Unlock level 20, size class 2. And yes, this is the Cataclysm Mobile Fortress, or Cataclysm MF, by CrazyZ. And now, unless I missed another one, which I'm about to finish scrolling through this list to make sure there was nothing else that did not get subscribed to like it was supposed to. And no, I look to be good on that. I'm going to say yes, that is the last of it. Right? Park it on top of a deposit and mine away. If that's the case, I would like a drill turret in here. Because drilling out with the handheld drill is so slow and tedious. Drilling out with a drill turret is slow and tedious now, honestly. I would rather go and maneuver weirdly to get it, because with 6 or 8 mining lasers than trying to do it this way. But yeah, technically, park it on top and start drilling that way in safety. That is, again, you know, like I said, some of these are going to be situational uses. You're going to find some of them fit certain situations better than others. But yeah, that's, you know, some of these are much more like the jrandall design. There is much more of a portable base, a functional base for working around the planet, as opposed to just a quick deploy sentry turret. Whereas like the Cyclops, the Carapace Sentry, some of these, you know, all fall in that. Take this, drop it off real quick, and leave it to defend your capital vessel, your base, whatever you're doing from a distance, so you're not being attacked and taking damage to a design you really don't want to have damaged. So these are more for that, and then some of these are, of course, more like that mobile base, balance between that and these. But yeah, that's the last design now. That is all of it. I will update the game save now to do that, and I will be putting in the description below after this is done. I will put the links for all of the designs there, as well as try to go ahead, if I have to, I'll host the Hellfire one, because it is not on the workshop at the moment. I'll go ahead, add that up as a downloadable blueprint with a link. And I will also be creating a copy of this game save that you can then come in and download directly. So you can just download the whole thing and have everything already deployed here if you want to do it that way, and just have a way to kind of look at them all in one game quickly and see how they work and play with them, compare them back and forth. So I will have that added later, especially once the video has finished processing on YouTube side and goes live. In terms of the design theme, like I said, I do not pick a winner. I don't pick the best one, because that's subjective. It's your opinion. But in terms of the challenge, the ones that I'm going to say to me fit the best to the challenge will be the Cyclops, the Carapace, the UECM Sentry Station, the Mini Mobile Sentry, and where is it? Really, the ugly metal bots. I'll also squeeze in the Mayflower, because it is not too overly large. But the idea, of course, and the only reason I'm not saying this one here, the Death Sphere, is because of the separation. You have that other part sticking out of the vessel. And if it's a big vessel, that might cause problems with that interfering with it docking. So basically those, because they are smaller and compact, that means that, you know, I could take, for example, either of these, and I could have in a larger capital vessel, in-game type capital vessel, I could have 4 of those. Either one parked in there, and drive one out, deploy it with weapons ready to go, full ammo, full fuel, and then go back, get the next one, drive it out to another spot, go back, get the next one, deploy all 4 in a quadrant around my capital vessel, so that any direction, a patrol vessel, if they ever add something more to the defensive capabilities of like the local population, stuff like that, you know, bigger drones or more patrol vessels, you know, small vessels that fly and attack, then that would protect me, kind of thing. They would be hit by those first rather than getting to my capital vessel. The other ones like this, the mobile fortress designs, the bigger ones, some of these are nice in terms of the functionality as a mobile base. Obviously, like the Testudo, the Crab, the mobile fortress Epsilon, the mobile defensive platform, the Praetorian, and of course the Gigantes and Cataclysm all work as like mobile bases and have more of that focus of it being a mobile base to me than just a drop off and leave it to defend a point on the base. And then, you know, certain ones are kind of in that middle ground between both of those points. You know, I mean, yes, some of these work with that. You can do that sort of thing with like the defensive platform, the Praetorian, and the Epsilon. You can deploy them, but they're big, they're more expensive, and they just have more of a design that lends towards a mobile base rather than a quick deployment sentry turret type thing, you know. Not meant for doing anything other than defending. Theme-wise, the Aqua's Crown looks great. If you're using any of the other designs from Unalesca, use that because it will blend in with those bases. The Waypoint, I like it because of it's a walker, but it also has that look like it's going to drop in and just slam into the ground on the planet, and then deploy the legs and walk around and do what it's got to do. And it docks on the underside, so that's a nice touch. Of course, it's not like dock on the underside and just step down into it. You would still have to have something where somebody's in it, and then it docks and you carry them to the net. So that's more of a multiplayer type aspect if you dock it underneath somewhere. Or you just have a really large set of hangar doors that allow it to drop out, like we've done with past challenges for, you know, dropship type thing. And yeah, lots of alts. Basically, not a disposable one so much, but there's one design that I've used in the past, and I like it. It's the Dark Tower Solar Defense. It's basically a completely solar-powered defensive tower. You place it there at some point to defend yourself from attacks, and the benefit of that is you don't have to produce power for it, but you are producing ammo, and it's a bigger structure, so you have to break it down to carry with you. I've used other ones that were like super small, one turret, like long ago in Alpha 6, Alpha 7. You just deploy a little tower with the turret on top, and all it does is defend you against drone attacks from getting too close to your capital vessel, which may be a little harder to get it docked where you can repair it with a repair bay. That was kind of the point of it. It's not necessarily disposable, but it's one that if it takes damage, it's easier to bring it back and repair it compared to repairing your capital vessel by taking it to a big base to dock it somewhere. Something like this, if this gets damaged, you drive it in to your capital vessel, you can quickly repair it. So if it takes too much damage, yeah, you could just say scrap it and build another one. That was kind of the general theme of it. So that was kind of why I'm saying these smaller ones fit more into that. They're cheaper, easier to repair, and they fit more compactly, meaning that you can have more of them in there and deploy a little defensive grid around your, you know, capital vessel, base, whatever you're wanting to protect. But I do like all the designs. All the designs have very nice aspects of them. Some of them are much more visually, aesthetically pleasing. And some of them are much more pleasing in terms of the forethought put into certain elements in terms of either power production, defensive capabilities, whether it's the placement of the turrets or the placement of like your cockpit and things like that so it can take heavy damage. Things like that. Some of it is, you know, the aspect of just the overall layout of it. So there's really a lot of interesting things with some of these the designs that we've done today. So everybody is a winner as usual with the designs. I'm always pleased with pretty much everybody's designs. Everybody does something in their own style, and who am I to say it's bad? You know, it may not fit my playstyle, but you designed it so it fits yours. So everybody's a winner in the end. That's why there's never a challenge winner. It's always just to get you out of your comfort zone and make you do something different. So again, links will be added once the video is processed from YouTube and available for normal viewing with the chat and everything in it. I will have a link, a download link for the Hellfire Tower, which is not on the workshop, at least at the moment, because the link was a direct download to the blueprint design. So I'll have that, and I'll also have, again, the game save with everything already set up like it is here, so you can jump in and use it and have fun, just testing them out back and forth and not have to worry about going and getting them all real quickly and setting them up to, you know, set them up like this is done, so you can actually just jump right in and play with them if you want. But that is going to be it for today's live stream, the challenge. With that, I do want to go ahead and talk a bit about upcoming, because we are at the end of the year. It's, you know, end of 2018. Just yesterday broke 10,000 subscribers, which is an awesome thing. Great, you know, to see that we've reached that far with the channel. But as I have played a bit more with Alpha 9 and with these changes, and I've been looking at more of the stuff that's being done with it from the development side, as well as seeing a lot of reviews from other players, I have really come to dislike the Alpha 9 changes. Basically, Alpha 9 is sapping the fun out of the game for me. Every single one of these changes, it used to be, I'll be like, oh, I need to go and play, I need to do some mining or whatever. And yeah, mining is monotonous in this game still, but I would go and be able to sit here for an hour driving around mining. Now, since last live stream, the best I've done at points is come up and click once on the icon and say, you know what, I really don't want to play it. I am really getting to the point that this is not as fun as it was because of the changes. The way I play and the way many other people play, we're used to going up to a container, grabbing stuff to our inventory, and carrying it somewhere else. Yes, there is a lacking realism of that in certain aspects, but certain games also do that and still maintain a level of realism because you have a limited amount of inventory space, you have weight restrictions, everything like that. That is not the case for me here. And I see, like, Doom Noodle, you're saying you think it's amazing. Unfortunately, I think it is absolutely horrible. If they implement, or when they implement the weight restrictions in this, I am hoping the developers have learned their lesson from a past issue where they did the same sort of thing and made a large number of players very unhappy. Because when they implemented resource deposit depletion through auto miners, there was a large set of players that complained heavily about it, to the point where the developer said, okay, we'll make that where you could turn it off. So I hope they've learned their lesson, and in this case, what they'll do is say, you know, here is your volume limits, but if you don't want that, you can turn it off. I can get used to the inventory thing like this, even though, to me, this feels more like I am playing in a control panel rather than just playing the game like I normally do. I do not like that, but I can adjust to that. The weight restrictions, however, from what I've been seeing in my testing, are impossibly imbalanced and extremely restrictive in this game. And this is currently the state of the game. If I was just now picking the game up in Steam and saying, ooh, let me check this game out, I would be refunding the game. I would not be playing the game in this state. I am not liking the changes to Alpha 9, and it has really sapped the fun out of it for me. You know, I've been working on learning the logistics system, and as I keep learning it, I'm seeing things that's like, what I was kind of wanting to see happen is in a complete 180 from this. I was looking for like what I'm seeing in Subnautica. I have a container, I drop stuff in, and it sorts it to other containers for me automatically to organize it. In this case, I'm seeing stuff like with some of the designs I've tested, where it's more of you're dumping just everything into one big storage system with no organization. And that goes against the way I play this game. That goes against the way I play many other games. And right now, I am just the enjoyment I was having with the game and up to Alpha 8 has been really just taken out with Alpha 9. And it's not just me. If you look at the workshop, or not the workshop, but the Steam page, you'll see a lot of players, even players with more hours in the game than me, being irate about, thanks for the, 1,000 hours of gameplay, but I'm done with the game at this point. There's people saying that in the reviews now. And I'm seeing a lot more negative reviews recently with the Alpha 9 release than before. So, as it was asked, you're wondering about the challenge for January. There is no challenge for January. I'm not going to commit to a creator challenge for January because depending on the upcoming changes, there may not be any more Empyrion content on the channel, because I am not enjoying the game anymore. It's just not as fun as it was in Alpha 8, and I cannot revert to Alpha 8 and keep it going on the channel because, be realistic, if I do Alpha 8, that restricts me on what I can review from the workshop. If I'm not using Alpha 9, I cannot properly review and showcase designs focusing on Alpha 9. I cannot, stick with that and keep it going. So if I do Alpha 8, it's only going to be live streams, and eventually it's going to dry up with that. There's, obviously certain people are enjoying it, and that's fine. There's even, I hate space engineers. I think it's overly complicated because there's more focus on realism than fun factor. And I feel like Alpha 9, they're going in that same direction. They're focusing more on the realism aspect of it with the weight restrictions and all this other stuff, but less on the fun factor for me. So no creator challenge this month. If they make these changes where I'm not enjoying the gameplay at all, which is already close to that, there will be no Empyrion content. And I'm sorry to say that. It's not something I can say lightly, because Empyrion's a big part of the community here, of what we do and what I do with the channel. But I cannot showcase designs that I do not understand the reasoning behind design elements because I'm not playing the game. It doesn't make sense for me to say, I think this is how it works, and be completely wrong because I'm not playing the game. And as it stands, these changes give me no reason to play the game. It really doesn't. So I'm hoping that, like I said, they have learned at least their lesson from when they did the resource deposit depletion and make the weight restrictions optional. If they do that, I can at least continue playing for a little while. But if that is made to be an enforced part of the game where you cannot turn it off, I will be done with the game. And it's not just me. There are other players, you can see it in the reviews, saying that Alpha 9 is crap and they are done with the game. There's even people saying they will not come back to the game because of how bad they think Alpha 9 is. I also, it's not just that. The faction system is horribly bad, because now instead of going wherever I want on the planet to harvest resource deposits, I have to make sure I'm not going to make somebody mad if I pick this plant up, if I drill into this resource deposit. That is so restrictive to me. I do not want that in the game. So they also need to make faction anger like that optional. If that's not, then that's another thing that restricts my enjoyment of the game, makes it where I can't go and say, I'm going to harvest the whole planet of resources and move on to the next. Okay, I can harvest this little strip, because if I harvest this one, I make them mad. If I harvest this one, I make them mad. It's just, I feel this is one of the most poorly implemented updates they've released for the game. So, no, it will be a case. I'm going to still do, I'm going to try to do one workshop showcase a week still. Not doing two for right now. I'm going to do one because I think I can make it through one without, turning it from this, here's how the design's set up to work with the new stuff, to I hate the new stuff. I don't want it to be, I don't want it to be that I'm complaining about the game for the showcase designs. I want to show the designs. And yes, it's gain honor with them, and then you can harvest fine. But, you know, I don't want to sit there and accidentally walk up, hit a cargo box because I'm used to checking and see if what's in there, and all of a sudden, there goes my reputation. Yeah, there's just so much stuff with the factions, the inventory system, everything that I understand a lot of you are liking it, but there's a lot of people also not liking it, and I'm one of the people that does not like the game changes now. And I've played a game for the channel in the past where I hated the game. It was so buggy that I could not stand playing the game. But I played it off screen to work between episodes. I recorded the episode, and I drove myself crazy editing each episode. And I finally said, I'm done with this game, and I will never again play a game and keep pushing it on the channel if I don't like it. And now, with this one, you know, Alpha 9, this update change, I'm not liking Empyrion anymore. It's not the same fun it used to be. And the game that was Doom Noodle was stranded deep because I played it and there were so many game-breaking bugs in it that I couldn't even get a fire to stay going consistently. That, you know, I had like 6 fires at one point built on one island because every time I built one, if I went too far away, it glitched into the ground and was unusable. And it drove me crazy to the point I can't even bear to install it again on my system now and try it until I see they are full release. And I don't want Empyrion to be that. I've put a lot of time into this game, but I'm seeing people with more hours than me saying exactly that. Saying, I'm done with this game until it's full release, or even saying, I'm done with this game until they remove these features. And like I said, if I bought the game as it stands now, with this inventory system, this management system, with the impending weight restrictions, I would not play it. I would be refunding the game, and there would have never been any Empyrion content on the channel if this was the way it was from the start. It's too much focus on that realism than the fun factor to me. And I'm hoping they change it. I hope they realize that they need to adjust for a set of players that this does not appeal to. But I'm afraid they won't. So, I'm just giving you fair warning. I will still be doing a workshop showcase this week. Obviously, I'm not liking the changes. So, I may do a live stream next week of gameplay, but do not count on it. Because I really do not want to play and sit there and just be irritated the whole time because of the changes. So, I will still do a showcase this week, but no creator challenge for this month, and until you hear otherwise, be ready to know there might not be a live stream next week as well. But that's just a heads up, because honestly, I don't want to turn around and suddenly be like, well, I'm done with Empyrion, guys, sorry. I wanted you to know that it may be a very good possibility that Empyrion will no longer be part of the channel, because I am not enjoying these changes. And I really do not feel like if I'm playing the game, if I don't like playing the game, I cannot accurately showcase designs, because I'll be missing out on new changes and new features, which of course at this point I don't like. So, I have tried DayZ before, Hemp. I did not like it. There is another game I just got off of for free off of another platform I've got to look into. And there are some other games. I've mentioned X4 Foundations. I'm thinking about it too, but I'm seeing a lot of people complaining about bugs with it and crashing. And you know, there's some other games I'm looking at as well. And of course, I'm definitely I want to start getting back to doing my tip videos and things like that, focusing on certain games where I can share my knowledge, because those are videos I can really do a lot more in editing. And of course right now, Subnautica is the big thing on the channel. Despite how active we are in the community, Subnautica is my big push right now, which is what shot me past that 10,000 mark, because I'm getting so much traffic from people watching my Subnautica videos, thanks to it being free until the 27th. So there will still be new stuff, and if I do drop Empyrion from the channel, I'll find something to do live streams. I've actually already got an idea for one, which I'm hoping if I can get this, if this is what we end up doing, if I do go a different direction than Empyrion, it might be something that will even bring Danielle back, because as I mentioned earlier, she did tell me she's leaving from the game for a while. She even left the Discord server, because she doesn't want to have anything else to do with Empyrion at the moment. So there's a lot of people leaving the game right now for a variety of reasons, but I've seen a lot of people complaining about Alpha 9. But we'll just see how it goes. Again, showcase this week, potentially no live stream next week. Just, you know, I'll have to see how I feel about it this week. And then no creator challenge this month, because I will not lock into that and then the week before the challenge say I can't do it, I hate the game now, and never mind, I don't want to cancel it on you. Okay, Doom, what's the question? Non-Empyrion question. We'll have a, even though there's not much going on screen, we'll sit and talk for a minute, which is fine with me. And Space Lego is fun. Which Space Lego? The actually Space Lego game, and or you got like another one that you're thinking like this looks like Space Lego, and you can't put it here. Message me on Discord then, Doom, and because I'm about to get off. Once we get done here, I'm going to check my Discord, go through some messages on there. But yeah, you can go ahead and message me on Discord then in a minute. And this is like Space Legos, Andrew? Yeah, it kind of is. It looks a little better than what I would expect with Legos on this. But you know, everybody, some people are still complaining about how poor the graphic quality is in this. It doesn't bother me. To me, the designs look nice. I mean, look at that. That looks good. That looks good. We've got really good designs, even though overall the graphics are a bit outdated. But it does lend also to the quality of what you can do in the building system. Obviously, if we had much more complicated graphics, they would have to limit the building system a bit more in this game. I mean, think like Ark. Subnautica has really nice graphics, and how limited that building system is compared to here. So there are benefits, and you know, to the older style graphics, not lower, but older style graphics. But you know, there's complaints about that still about this game. There are certain things that are redeeming features of the game, and then of course there are features of the game that some people like, some people hate, and unfortunately there's a lot of new features coming in that I just do not like. So, but you know, I'm sorry, Deadeye, that you just now found it, and that's sorry, you know, but if they had not made some of these changes, I'd still be perfectly fine with everything, but some of these changes, it just feels like a 180 to me, like they've just completely reversed in the direction from what we were used to, and it is, I just can't, it's not a matter of adjusting, it's just a matter of, it's not fun this way for me. Star Citizen, I have looked at. Dual Universe, I have not looked at. I'll look at that. There's some other ones I've looked at that are still on a to be determined release date, not even out early access type thing. But I'm going to be looking for some new games. So, you know, stick around. Don't leave the channel or the Discord, because it is for more than just Empyrion. It just happened to be predominantly Empyrion. And I'm going to be slowly working things to where it adjusts around that, so it can be a more of a balanced focus with other games. Dual Universe is practically Empyrion 2.0. Well, I will try to take that under consideration, give it a look after this then, just to keep going. But like I said, I will have, as usual, all links for the designs here today in the description below later. I will put the game save up and the Hellfire Tower there is a non-workshop design, so I will have a download link for it to make it easier for all of you. Deadeye, yes, I know you just got in. I did mention X4 Foundations. I am looking at that, but I'm hearing a lot of complaints about bugginess, crashing, people buying it and never getting it to run because it crashes every time they open it. So I'm being a little cautious on that too. But yeah, there's a bunch of games I'm looking at. I will still try to do some workshop stuff for a while, but it is going to be a bit up in the air in terms of how long Empyrion lasts and if I continue to do any gameplay live streams for it right now. But yeah, that will be it for today's live stream. Sorry about the long rant at the end if you were, watching this later and wondering when it's going to end. But this is the December 2018 End of the Year Creator Challenge Showcase. Thanks to all of you who submitted your designs. Thanks to you pointing out that I had 2 of them that did not get subscribed to on the workshop for some reason and got those added in. I didn't even think about the fact I didn't have a jrandall design up here. Thank you for that, and thank you all again for the great designs. There's some really clever ones, even if they didn't follow the try and true core of the design. There are some really creative designs here, and some of you should have your design concepts being evaluated by the developers for either full inclusion or at least a basis as part of some other designs in the game, because there are certain ones here that really stand out better than some of the in-game points of interest to me. So I think the devs really need to be paying more attention to the community than they might be doing right now, especially in terms of opinions on Alpha 9, but also they need to be watching your designs because some of you are doing some really great designs, and I thank you for joining me and sharing those designs with our group here. But since I didn't see you beforehand, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, whatever your holiday of choice was, and of course, a Merry New Year, Happy New Year to everybody here. I am Mr. Spicy, and I will make sure to keep you all updated, but thanks for watching. I will see you guys later.